start today, Fraser, that we may never ever see again.
I'm Jordan Mercado.
I'm Dustin Beggs.
I'm Ryan Chafee.
And you're watching Friday Night Baseball.
Welcome to Friday Night Baseball.
I'm Mikey Reynolds, and welcome to Friday Night Baseball.
Well, good day, baseball fans. Welcome down under to Adelaide's Active Display Stadium and another edition of Friday Night Baseball. No two states have a longer head-to-head history than Victoria and South Australia. These two playing in the very first Claxton Shield game some 85 years ago. Tonight, it's a rivalry renewed as the Southwest Division leading Melbourne Aces face a team hot on their tail, the hometown Adelaide Giants. My name's Phil Hurd, and thanks so much for joining us this evening. Our regular expert Scott Pratt is on assignment, so making his ABL debut, it's great to welcome not just the voice of Super League Baseball Adelaide, but also a player, coach and commentator over 3 continents, Rob Ushy. Rob, welcome to Friday Night Baseball.
Thank you, Phil. Great to be here. Beautiful night in Adelaide. Couldn't be in a better place on a Friday night. Maybe a little windy, but I go from being the veteran back to being the rookie.
South Australia versus Victoria, always long-time sporting rivals. Melbourne and Adelaide go back a fair bit. We'll talk about that through the night. The weather, how do you expect the weather to play into conditions tonight?
Typical West Beach weather, 20 degrees game start. It is going to drop as it goes. No chance of rain. Sun's up, we're going to have that. But it is windy, it's blowing straight in from right center here. That's going to play a factor.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how the starting pitchers go tonight. We'll talk about that shortly, but during the week we caught up with a starting pitcher with Adelaide who's got an ERA of 0.00. That's Gunnar Kynes, and our Friday Night Baseball team caught up with Gunnar at training earlier in the week.
Pretty good so far. A little rocky with the walks, but with Logan and Mitch behind the plate, I was able to just block in certain situations where I do happen to walk the guys, but pretty good so far. So far, the pitch count's been kind of up, but as long as I can go out there and put up the zeros, I think that's more important, in my opinion. Definitely the patience of the hitters and knowing that I have to pick around the zone and kind of pick my battles and don't have to throw everything in the strike zone, since my strike percentage is actually a lot lower than what it is in the Frontier League. But just picking my battles and knowing which guys are looking for certain pitches. I believe that we're a lot different team playing at our field just because of how the field plays out and how the wind's always blowing in from right, and so it makes us play like a small ball aspect and using our speed that we have to win games. Key is to mostly just pitch around their big guys and just focus on the specific part of their lineup and just get the certain outs that you need to. And with Delman Young hitting righty hitters a lot better than lefties so far, I could use that to my advantage.
Well, the crowd is building here at Active Display Stadium. Kids everywhere coming off a carnival outside the ground earlier this afternoon. Well, of course, Adelaide Giants, they're facing the Melbourne Aces, who have an 8-4 record and are tied for the lead with the Southwest Division coming into this weekend with the Perth Heat. Let's see how the Melbourne Aces line up tonight.
Looks like the Aces are going to go with Yuma Mune, third baseman leading off, followed by the right fielder Heito Nishiura. Quincy Latimer makes his return to Adelaide, but this time in an Aces uniform. He'll be in left field. The big designated hitter, Delman Young, round out the top 4. Luke Hughes, typical first baseman for Melbourne. Center fielder Kode Seno. Mitchell Ellis, the second baseman. Alan de San Miguel, the catcher in the 8-hole. Jared Dale rounding out at shortstop.
You can see the fielding positions. Lattimore in left, Sano center, Nishiura in right. Around the bases, it's Mune, Dale the younger at short, Ellis, former Bandit at second, Hughes, his permanent position at first base. De San Miguel also behind the plate. Wes Helsebek is the starting pitcher for Melbourne tonight. Here's what your Adelaide Giants line up.
Once again, you got Curtis Mead, third baseman, leading off for the Adelaide Giants, looking to get them going. Eric Peterson in the 2-hole, second baseman. Mikey Reynolds, shortstop. Aaron Whitefield still patrolling center field. He'll hit 4. Logan Hop getting the night off behind the plate, going to be the designated hitter. Rickson Wingrove at first base. Cole Stobie in right field. Little slow start. He's hoping the home cooking back in Adelaide gets him going now. Mitch Edwards will be catching the hit in an 8-hole, and Ben Aklinski, the left fielder tonight, will round them off.
Nice segue to the fielding spot. Akliski in left, Whitefield centre, Stobie in right, Mead at third, Reynolds at short, Peterson second, and Wingrove got himself first base tonight. Mitch Edwards behind the plate. Diego Nushijima will have his second start for the Adelaide Giants. We've got the managers out. You can see Tank Adamson and John Deeble. Probably Tank's been part of the Australian coaching crew for all. Might have been under Deeble's tutelage. And John's got an interesting record coming up. He's about 3 wins away from tying the Aces record for most wins for the franchise. So if the Aces win the series this weekend, he'll be tied with Phil Dale. If the Aces sweep, he'll be the winningest coach in Melbourne Aces history. These two sides, what are you expecting to see with this weather and the way these two teams match up, Rob?
With the way wind's blowing in, it's fairly firm right now. It's 30 kilometers, and we've seen that it may be gusting up a little bit. Looking at it, the old-fashioned pitchers duel today. You have Wes Helsebeck starting for Melbourne, coming off a 6 1/3, 3-hit, no-run, 12 strikeout performance against Perth when he got the victory. So he's coming hot. And then for Adelaide, Diego Nushijima got his first start of the year, 4 innings, gave up 4 runs, but he did have 7 strikeouts. So both pitchers are the strikeout pitchers, and they're going to need that tonight, as that ball's going to probably not really go too much in the outfield, but it could play some tricks with the fielders.
Well, the way I tend to see it, Melbourne are built for power. When you see guys like Delman Young and Luke Hughes playing, I think Adelaide is more built for speed. Mikey Reynolds, Aaron Whitefield. I suspect if the wind is strong blowing in, it's probably a night for speed.
Yeah, I think we could be looking at possibly another start, just like Adelaide had against Brisbane. Brisbane, another team built with power. They play in a small ballpark over in Brisbane, but as we see, there's the big man, Delman Young, with the wind blowing straight in. He can still get one out of here with his pop, but the speed, I think, is going to be the factor tonight for both teams, and Adelaide has the advantage.
Well, the Aces come in. You've seen Delman Young, Luke Hughes, also Warwick Selfold. Peter Moylan, my apologies. Moylan, Hughes and Young. 3 major leaguers in the Aces. So they've got 4 players from the Oryx Buffaloes who have all made senior level there in the Nippon Professional Baseball competition. And then you throw in a couple of Aussies as well. Desan Miguel, the veteran. It's quite an interesting, diverse mix, but a very experienced mix for the Aces tonight.
Very experienced, and that's what Manager Deeble was looking for this year. They wanted to get back to where they've been in the past, and that's what they're hoping for, that this team can provide them. But across from them with the Giants this year, we saw it when they broke out that first weekend and swept the Bandits. A little bit younger team, a little more giddy up and a little more jump on the bench, and a little more energy and fun.
Absolutely. The Giants side doesn't have a lot of old experienced leaders, but a lot of young kids, well, a lot of players that started as young kids that are now starting to get the games in them. We were all shocked by the way they played the opening series here at West Beach. They swept the Bandits with some remarkable games. It got more remarkable the longer the weekend went on. Went to Sydney, a bit of a reality check. They won the Sunday game, lost the series 1-3. Geelong Korea last week. Now, these scores, they lost 2-8. Then next day they won 25-4. The close one was 5-7, then a 6-3 game that was 6-1 going into the ninth. That is baseball, isn't it? You can be dominating one day and get dominated the next.
Exactly what we've seen for baseball for the hundreds of years it's been around, we'll say, is you got a game that you can go out, have a pitcher's duel, 0-0 game, which ends 1-0, and then the next day it could be a 20-1 game and someone's getting blown out just because every game is so different.
Well, some of those records that were broken for Friday night baseball last week, as the Giants are being introduced through the very colourful array of the kids there. 26 hits was a record number of hits for the Giants. 25 was the most runs in Bites Giant history, beating the previous best of 23. 21 run winning margin, the largest in the club, beating the previous best of 20. 14 strikeouts recorded by the various pitchers. Two Geelong players struck out 3 times each. 10 Giants finished with a hit, all 9 starters and Matt Hutchings. And David Holmberg struck out 8 tossing 5 shutout innings. So it was a night to remember. If they can repeat that this Friday night, we'll all be very excited with the big crowd here today.
That's where you see hitting being contagious. As you mentioned, every starter in the lineup had a hit, plus off the bench came in and got a hit as well. And that's the excitement and the youth that the Giants have this season. That something gets going and it's going well, they'll just build on it and build on it. And the Aces are going to want to try to use the experience they have tonight and this weekend to maybe get ahead early and get the first scorer on the board and try to get that excitement and that youth to dwell and kind of think down on themselves. But so far the Giants haven't had it this season.
And we do have, it's a kids run the ballpark on Sunday. They've taken it to, and Lincoln Harris, a young 6-year-old, being introduced as the new signing for the Adelaide Giants. Gee, I don't know, Rob, I'm getting old, but these guys are getting younger and younger every day.
Yeah, getting younger and younger. We see him running out. He signed his contract today and going to throw the first pitch of the game here for the Giants. And see what he's got on his arm here.
We'll see what he got. Well, you're the pitching expert. Let's call this pitch in. No pressure on the young lad.
No. Gets himself ready.
High
Good
kick.
Form.
Hey!
That's a good throw. Got all the way to the catcher there. He's got a future.
I can barely throw that far now. He's throwing that far at 6. Fantastic. So as much as tonight is a colourful night and great to have all the kids here, it is tinged with really some great sadness. You would have heard about the White Island volcano tragedy during the week in New Zealand. Well, one of our own was there, and unfortunately young Zoe Hosking was caught in that explosion and has tragically passed away. Zoe is a member of the Adelaide baseball family. She sings the national anthem on a regular basis, including just a few weeks ago. So tonight we're going to have a moment of silence remembering Zoe and all that she brought to us and to her family and to her friends, and then we're going to have a very special rendition of the Australian national anthem.
In the honor and memory of Zoe. The anthem will be led by Ethan, Toby, and Charlotte from Hallmark Music Studios. Fans, we ask that you please stand and begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. And now, fans, led by Ethan, Toby, and Charlotte, will you please loudly, proudly, and in honor of Zoe, sing the Australian national anthem all together.
Well, normally the national anthem brings a tingle to your spine. That one brings a tear to the eye. Well done, everyone. The baseball game not too far away. We'd like to welcome you to the YouTube chat for Friday Night Baseball. We'd love for you to be part of the commentary crew. If you're an Aces fan and you think we're being a little one-sided, let us know. Give us a little bit of balance. If you've got some questions, well, Rob's here to answer those.
Do our best.
And above all, we'd love to interact. We'd love to know where you're watching from and how you're enjoying Friday Night Baseball Australian style. Any predictions on the series, coming in, Rob. It's Adelaide have won 4 in a row. The Aces put 8 in a row together, a club record, before losing their last 2 to Perth.
I'll start with just for tonight.
Yep.
I'm going to go, like mentioned earlier, pitcher's duel. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. It's fairly windy. Going to have to get on top of the ball, line drives everywhere, and both pitchers that they're used for starting are formidable. We've seen Elsebeck last week dominate the Perth Heat, and we'll see how long the Giants will go. This looks like it might be a bullpen day to start the week, as Nushijima has been a 4-inning guy, a 3-inning guy in his other starts and other appearances. So we'll see if he has the depth to go maybe 5 or 6 if he's rolling, or if they are going to go to the bullpen. But I am looking for a low-scoring game tonight.
Yes, well, windy conditions tend to bring the lowest scores, especially without the home run option. Of course, you watch. What will happen, Rob, is the first batter will come to the plate and will send one right over the fence. It will be 1-2-3 to start us off. No surprise there. 2 of the players from the Oryx Buffaloes from the Nippon Professional Baseball League. It will be Yuma Mune to lead off. And the pitcher from the Honda Motor Company. So this will be interesting. A player who pitches for the Industrial League in Japan facing a player who's a full-blown professional.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he is going to be a two-way player for Melbourne at some point during the season. Hasn't yet, but if he does pitch, we'll see if he maybe gets in this weekend or in a future game for the Aces.
Alrighty, we are set to rock and roll. Hope you enjoy your Friday night baseball. It's the Giants and the Aces. First pitch for a ball. It'll be interesting to see. Yuma has, well, Aces have done very well with their 2 starters. Last week, I think 31 hits, 14 of those from their top 2 players from Japan.
We've seen so far Yuma's been, he took the first one inside, low inside, that one a little more aggressive. The Aces might want to try to get on the starter here for the Giants. He's given up 11 hits in his 10 innings so far this year, so more than a hit an inning. That's going to be good. Little late slider there at the end. Caught the inside corner. He's ahead 1-2 in the count.
So Yuma Mune is a 23-year-old. I noticed he bats left. From Musashino in Western Tokyo. 54 games, averaging 270 for the Buffaloes this year. As he's fouled that away, and now it remains a 1-2 count. Thus far in his 12 games, he's averaging 390, slugging 561. His OPS is over 1,000. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. 6 walks, 6 strikeouts. So some good patience at the plate. Happy to see that one zing through, and we got ourselves a 2-2 count to open proceedings. 4-game series. This one's just starting tomorrow, a double-header, 7 innings at 4 o'clock, late game at 7. And then the finale will be 2 o'clock. That tends to move around a little bit. So that one is hit right back. Should be fairly easy work for Reynolds. It is, and that's the first one away. And everyone can exhale. Got the first down.
No, getting the first out always the biggest one for the pitcher of every inning, and to start a game, you don't want that runner on to start. You saw that one just maybe a little bit off the glove of Nishijima, but enough to at least get out of the way. So his shortstop Reynolds could make a clear fielding on it and get it over to first base for the lead out.
Yeah, and they come back right at the pitcher. Absolutely anything can happen. It could be an easy 1-3 put out. It can end up in center field. It can end up everyone safe. So this is his Buffaloes teammate, 20-year-old Hayato Nishiura, second year with Oryx. Again, a mixture between the professional level, 80 games, 18 RBI there, and the Western League, which is the AAA, the farm system in Japan. Right now, all the ones. If you just joined us, this is the second at-bat for the evening. That It's going to be a bouncing play. Well done by the pitcher to get there. Nishijima beating Nishiura. Just to the plate, that's 2 away. Wingrove doing the fielding.
You should be pretty good at those names now, Phil. You did call a Japanese series here, so
that was hilarious.
You see, pitcher getting over. The pitching practice get over. Good flip from Rickson Wingrove, second out. And bring up the former Adelaide Bite player.
Yes.
Quincy Lattimore.
He's still got the cool shade. He still looks cool. He's got the cool. All the cool people wear shades, don't they, Rob?
Well, batters are going to need it from the right-hand side there, but certain players can always got the swagger. And he's going to put a charge into that one. That one's going to drift ball foul up and over the hill, over the bullpen of the Aces.
So we've got a whole stack of comments on the chat. We're going to need an inning break to go through them, so bear with us, folks. Nishijima trying to work a 1-2-3 here as Lattimore at 1-1. Did he swing? No, did not. So 2-1 Lattimore. 2 seasons with the Adelaide Bite, and was very much a cult favourite with the guys. Some of the imports come and go. Some stick in your mind, and Quincy Lattimore was certainly one of those. Great to see him back down under, even in opposition colours, as that's flied away. And we often talk, Rob, about when you hit the elevator shafts, it usually comes back in. Wasn't going to happen with the wind tonight.
No, that one got up there. That one was going to carry right out, but Mitch Edwards had to take a look, see if he can get himself over there. You never know. It is blowing, it's gusting a little bit, so it could swing around, but goes away for a harmless foul ball, and we're going to go with a 2-2 pitch. Coming from here, and there's going to be a swing and a miss from Quincy Lattimore. So 1-2-3 inning for the Adelaide Giants to start before they're going to get a chance to get the bat here.
So we've got a few of our regulars. Rodney Nottage is there. Also, g'day to Jason, who's a Giants fan. Yeah, we're getting all the notes about the volume. Thank you for that. Frank is glad we've got one game streaming. There are some other issues around the place. And yeah, we'll go through those comments, but I think there was someone from Colorado there as well. History between these two sides in the modern day ABL, both are original franchises. The very first game for both the Aces and the then Adelaide Bite were against each other in Adelaide. The very first playoff series for these two clubs was against each other.
Of course.
The very first all-in brawl in the Adelaide Baseball League. The very first court case resulting from that was between these two clubs.
That was probably still on YouTube somewhere.
Absolutely, and the very first series played here at West Beach was also between these two clubs. So if you're looking to commence something, you always get the Adelaide and Melbourne Aces together. I should add one great stat for the Aces, maybe not a great stat, but over many years Melbourne struggled to win a road series. It took them something like 5 seasons. When they eventually did it, they did it here against Adelaide.
That's how it always works when you got your rival. You come a little harder, and when you get it, it's going to be against them. It's not going to be against the team that you don't really have that quite the same animosity with. And it's one of the great things about sports and the way baseball works. It makes it even better.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions in the chat about Whitefield starting. Certainly, if Frank's cheering for Delman Young and Aaron Whitefield, a Fort Myers Miracle player. I don't think they are the Fort Myers Miracle anymore. I think they changed their name to the Mighty Muscles or something. Something like that.
I remember them being the Fort Myers Miracle when I was down there. But yeah, I believe all those teams have a lot of them changed into some extraordinary names. We'll see Dustin Beggs later on in the series. He's with the Baby Cakes. So.
Yes, and now they've gone to Wichita, and they're called the Wichita Wind Surge, if you can believe that.
Just some great creative names and some even better logos in minor league baseball, and that's just part of the fun for the fans.
So, plenty of Aces fans in the chat, that's good. We'll work on some things as we go along, but we are at the bottom of the first, whereas Hazelbeck is at the plate, and it is Curtis Mead to lead off, and Mead is having himself quite a series, quite a season, I should say. Just 19 years of age, if you can believe that. Mead wastes no time, but that's just going to be a pretty easy pop-up play for Nishiura. Sorry, Mitch Ellis, I should say. Nishiura's in right, Ellis is in second. Might just quickly run through the Aces defensively. Quincy Lattimore is in left, Kodai Sano is in centre, Hayato Nishiura in right. Around the bases, Mune is in third, Jared Dale in second. Jared Dale at short, Mitch Ellis at second, Luke Hughes at first. De San Miguel behind the plate. The ever ageless Alan De San Miguel.
One of the stagnant points of Melbourne Aces is Alan De San Miguel behind the plate. He's there again tonight. Big swing and a miss there on first pitch from Eric Peterson. Starting the season a little bit slow, only hitting a .184 through the first 12 games, 1 home run, 5 RBIs. But in the 2-hole, he does handle the bat very well. Doesn't have the high strikeouts. He only struck out in the minors. He's got low numbers. Here, it's been a little different. He leads the Giants in strikeouts, but the history that he's had as a professional player does handle the bat and doesn't have the strikeout. So a little bit of an anomaly, maybe getting used to the ABL.
Well, it does take a while to settle in. If you look at Hazelbeck's game-by-game stats, he's gone longer every time. 12 strikeouts last week against the Heat, which went a long way to helping the Aces get the Game 1 victory. That was quite a titanic series in Melbourne last week between the two top teams last year. Currently the two top teams in the division this year, but the Giants are just a game behind. Hoping to do something about it this weekend.
Well, we see the big low 90s fastball that Hazelbeck has there. That one just got a little bit off on him there. Another 2-2 pitch. He's going to strike out Peterson with, looks like his change up there. He's working on his slider, developing it. That's his pitch that's probably needs the most work. But you did mention he keeps going longer and longer into a game. 6 1/3 last week was the longest he'd gone, but 120 pitches. And in that, and the high strikeout numbers is going to add to it.
Who does he think he is? Mark Hamburger. He was.
They seem to always have one in Melbourne.
They do. It must be part of their recruiting checklist. Must find a pitcher who can throw 120 pitches in a game. Mikey Reynolds has come to the plate. A couple of questions on the chat. Yes, the game is 9 innings. We're in Adelaide, not Auckland. Did the old ABL Giants ever win a championship? Alas not. We had a lot of fun trying. In fact, the Bite have probably come closer than the Giants, having made the championship series 3 times. And the Aces have made it twice. 2 of the original clubs yet to win an ABL championship. Maybe this is the year. 0-2 count. Just a strike away from ending the first. Which is on the outside.
We'll see if Hazelbeck sets him up like he just did with Peterson before when he had the 2 strikes on him. He went to that big fastball up, and then he went down with what looked like the changeup last time. See if he follows the same pattern here. Goes with another fastball this time, and Reynolds sends that one straight back.
So great turn up tonight. The 2 undercover grandstands looking pretty chockers, which is great to see. Bit of a tribe on the home run hill as well. If you ever do come down to the ballpark, you do have plenty of options on where you can watch the game. Just got the outside corner. That'll do it for the first. Back-to-back strikeouts for the Aces. It's 0-0. You're watching Friday Night Baseball. Friday Night Baseball live from Active Display Stadium, top of the second. Rivals, the Melbourne Aces, are in town to take on the Adelaide Giants. All donuts on the scoreboard thus far. You're with Phil Hurd, Rob Ushy, and a very windy night. It's getting gustier and gustier as we speak.
Yeah, we're getting blown around a little bit up here, but it's still a beautiful night. Fans are out, it's full, and Melbourne's going to try to look to get ahead here. The middle part of their order coming up. Delman Young, Luke Hughes, and Kodai Sano. Delman Young back for the Melbourne Aces after his year in Mexico, where obviously the Mexican cooking was good. Hit 32 home runs and 122 RBIs between their fall, autumn, and then the Venezuelan winter season last year. So he had quite a year. Wow,
he's getting stamps on the passport to boot, those frequent flyer miles. And he is dominating at the moment. I'll give you some of his stats in a sec. As a swing at that one. So at the moment, Young leads the ABL in slugging at 756. The OPS at 1,160. Leads it in RBI with 17 and home runs with 5. Averaging 333, 13th highest in the league.
Remember Delman from a couple years ago when he was with Melbourne? That year he hit 280 with 11 home runs, and he looks like he's in phenomenal shape right now. That could be trouble for the rest of the ABL this season.
He's got 5 as this one is played to Reynolds, who'll get his second put out of the night. So 4 up, 4 down so far for the Aces. Luke Hughes comes to the plate, and Hughes, well, he leads the Aces in strikeouts at the moment with 16. He's having a quiet start. And before anyone gets too concerned, as far as I think, it means he's due. Because Luke Hughes does not have quiet seasons. He might have a quiet week, quiet game, does not have quiet seasons. He's averaging 188 at the moment.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of the Premier 12 hangover still after the first couple seasons. But as the Australian weather picks up this summer and we get even hotter across the country, I imagine his bat's going to get hot with it.
Absolutely. It was 2 from 17 last week, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts against his old team, the Perth Heat. He did not swing on that occasion. He holds the current ABL record for home runs with 56 career home runs. Total bases, 560, and doubles with 74. And he and Alan D. San Miguel having a little battle with RBIs at the start of the season, tied with 202. We'll see D-San shortly.
A little bit of a rare fastball so far for Nishimura. He's primarily been off speed tonight with a fair number of sliders. And that one a little bit of a showcase fastball up. Another 2-1, and there's that slider again. That's going to catch the inside corner.
So 2-2, 1 out, no one on. No one's got on as yet. Early stage of this game, we'll get some scores from around the ABL at the end of the second. Hughes does get bat onto that, but the wind is going to take that almost to Death Valley, but beyond and foul. I think if you wanted to go in that Death Valley corner, you go to aim the other side of the scoreboard tonight.
Yeah, the wind's blowing pretty in hard from right center, which is right where the scoreboard is, and it's you have to shoot it there, so it kind of tails over, slices into the corner where you normally can run. Maybe another 2-2 pitch, and he's gonna follow that one off the same direction, just with a little more height to that one.
Almost into the Burrito Bowl, which is our renamed Shark Tank. Someone said we should have renamed it the Beanstalk. Not sure if that's a great analogy to use.
I think I've been pushing to do a game from the Burrito Bowl, so maybe at one point this year we can work something out that way. I mean, another slide. That one's going to be driven in the left field, but that's going to get hung up there for Aklinski to camp under for the second out of the inning.
Just to set the Giants up defensively tonight, you just saw Aklinski in left, Aaron Whitefield. We've gone 1.5. He hasn't had a highlight yet in centre. Cole Stobie out near the right foot pole there. A right field pole, foul pole I should say. Curtis Mead at third, Mikey Reynolds short, Eric Peterson at second, Rickson Wingrove first, Mitch Edwards behind the plate tonight. Hoppe, who is the DH. So right now we come to the third instalment of the Oryx Buffalo foursome. 3 batters, 1 pitcher. And this is Kodai Sano.
We've seen all three members of the Buffaloes team when they got there. They've been swinging early in the count. So Sano fouled that one off there, the first pitch, and then he took the second one. But in the first inning, both Mune and Nishiura were swinging early too in the count.
Just trying at the moment. You called it before a pitch was thrown in anger, Rob. A pitcher's duel, and that's what we are seeing thus far. But Sano against his Japanese compatriot here. Ahead 2-1 in the count with 2 out, no one on. Tries to get that between first and second. Grau, and he will get there. Peterson had it and lost it. And we'll work out shortly if that is a hit or an error. Either way, the Aces are on board. 1 on, 2 out.
And maybe not the runner that the Giants want to see on base, as Sano does lead the Aces in stolen bases this year. He does have 5, hasn't been caught stealing yet. And he's going to have Mitchell Ellis up there, 2 out. Hitting .241 this season, 7 for 29 to start the year. He does have a couple of RBIs. So we'll see if they want to get the runner in motion with 2 out to try to set themselves. He's going to be a line drive. That one's going to hit the left center gap. Whitefield's not going to be able to trap that one down. That gets by him. That's going to be at least a double. Sano's coming around. He's going to score all the way from first base. Standing, no throw. It's going to be an RBI double for Mitch Ellis on the first pitch. And the Melbourne Aces grab a 1-0 lead.
The Bandits recruit delivers big time. An RBI double. And those 2 out mistakes. We could have been in the dugout with the clean pickup and throw. Instead, the Giants are down 1-0 in the ball game. As we come to the veteran Desan Miguel, who's got a runner in scoring position in Ellis.
Looks like the score has given Sano a hit on the ball that Peterson wasn't able to track down. So back-to-back hits here with 2 out for Desan Miguel. And he's also going after the first pitch. That one's going to get over to the Giants dugout. Wingrove's going to go sliding in, but not going to be able to catch up to that one, as that one's quite foul.
So Desan, along with Hughes, former Perth Heat player, spent 12 seasons, 586 games in various organisations, the Twins, the Orioles and the Royals in minor league baseball. 6 times he got to AAA. 6 times. He launches that one to left. Is that goodbye? No, it's foul.
Well, that's about the only place you're going to get him out today. He's out into left field, unless you really get into something. But we have seen a couple balls this inning that have had a little bit of charge into them, into left field.
So coming into the season, Desan holds the ABL record for games played at 354. Plate appearances, 1,456.
Well-traveled baseball player.
Yes, you'd have to say between the bat. On this occasion, Nishijima gets the better of him, but not before gives up 2 hits and a run. It's time, Rob. Now, you are new to this, but midway through the second, we have, thanks to SA Power Networks, a trivia question. Now, Adelaide fans, I'm expecting 100% from this one. Which current Melbourne Aces player has never played for Adelaide? And the options, John Kennedy, Quincy Lattimore, or Josh Tolles. And if you're in the YouTube feed, put your reputation on the line and put your answer there. Rob, I'll give you an inning to work it out midway through the third. We'll come up with that answer.
Do I get to Google? Am I allowed to cheat?
No, I'm watching you. No Googling. I mean, you know one of the... we already know one of those answers is not correct.
Well, I think I actually have this answer. I think they...
well, don't tell everyone just yet.
It was an easy question for me for my first start out here, but We'll see if I do get it right.
Well, thanks to SA Power Next. We had the quiz last home series, and I think only Praddy got it right, so we decided we might just make this one a tad easier. And we'll see how our viewers go. Certainly, John Kennedy's getting a lot of love from the YouTube at the moment. So we come to the bottom of the second. Aaron Whitefield, Logan Hoppe, Rickson Wingrove. 4-5-6 for the Adelaide Giants. Trailing here. Certainly a glorious night for the ballpark. If you're in the vicinity, make sure you get down here the rest of the weekend. Tomorrow, double header, 4 and 7. 4 o'clock is a 7 innings contest. It is the only 7 innings contest of the weekend. Sunday's game is at 2 o'clock and kids run the ballpark. So come down if you dare. Looking forward to seeing that, and we'll tell you a little bit about what both sides have in store promotionally in upcoming weeks.
First pitch from Hesselback, and that one's going to be taken high and outside. Looked like Whitefield wasn't going to be swinging at that anyway. He's looking to maybe get the pitch count up a little bit. He's been the spark plug for the Adelaide Giants in the first 3 weeks. He's going after the second pitch, going to send that one foul down third base line. Only 1 home run, but 2 doubles, a triple, hitting .370, 12 RBIs. He was a one-man wrecking show that first week against Brisbane, and not single-handedly, but almost single-handedly won a couple of those games.
Well, he was involved in them. He got some early runs, which set the tone. He scored the winning run in the walk-off on Saturday night, and he's hit the grand slam that brought the crowd alight on Sunday. He is a championship player with the Brisbane Bandits, Helms Award winner. Dad was a softball rep for New Zealand, Mum played for Queensland. Leads a lot of categories: hits, RBI, total bases, stolen bases. Yes. And that's coming off a stellar Premier 12 performance, especially in the field. G'day to Adam, who's tuned in from Poland.
Poland, definitely glad to see fans from Europe. Whitefield's going to drive one, and that into right field. I was going to tail foul, and then just outside of the reach of Hayato Nishiura. Not able to slide and get that. But with baseball growing across the world, Poland is another one of the countries in Europe that it is certainly becoming a lot bigger of a sport.
Question on the chat. The distances to the fences, well, the poles are 320, center field is 380, and left center and right center are 390. And Whitefield, he's going 90 from home to first, the first Giant on base, courtesy of a walk.
Leadoff walks are always trouble. See if the Giants can take advantage of that and get him around. We're going to go with Logan Hoppe, who's DHing tonight, getting the night off from behind the plate. He does lead the Giants in home runs, tied with Curtis and Ede. They both have 3, but hitting 300, just under 300, 296. So see if he can shoot a gap like happened last inning for Mitchell Ellis, and maybe White will be running from first as well.
He brings the regulars know. I say it ad nauseum. He brings the hustle. If there's an opportunity, he and Reynolds will be taking it. So Helsebeck has a little bit of work to do here. Going to keep an eye on Whitefield and deal with a Hoppe. Whitefield is off. The veteran Desan couldn't get it in. Jared Dale couldn't, sorry, it was Mitch Ellis couldn't quite glove it correctly. And Whitefield, the potential tying run, is in scoring position with none out, and I feel like we're calling Super League Baseball all over again.
Oh, we saw Whitefield go on first movement there. Left-handed pitcher, you're doing one of two things. You're either going a little bit later once you see him go, or you're going first movement. And with that one there, it looked like maybe Whitefield was timing him from his first couple pitches, getting something that he wanted to go on.
The Giants' stolen base record this season is something phenomenal. Coming off 2 seasons ago where they stole 10 bases all year. Last year, they were successful 69% of the time stealing. Sorry, correction, 78% success. You think, gee, 78%, that's pretty good. That's more than 3 out of 4, almost 4 out of 5. It's almost a statue. Coming into this series, the Giants are 91% successful at stealing bases.
Well, you can see in some of the players they've added this year, there's a lot more speed. You have to play to the dimensions of your ballpark, and that's going to be driven to center field. That one's not going anywhere though. Whitefield is going to tag at second. The throw into third. We're going to play at third base. It's going to get him there by a step, and he's going to be out at third base for the second out of the inning, trying to help the team out, get to third with 1 out, so where another fly ball could drive him in. But good throw there from center fielder
Sano. Yeah, look, it just wasn't deep enough, was it? You have to get the player turning around to get that. And as we see the replay, not a lot in it, but enough. So that clears the bases, 2 out. Rickson Wingrove, who's had his share of highlights thus far this season, coming over from Sydney, the Newcastle native.
Rickson could be one of the batters that, if he does put a charge into a ball, can cut it through the wind and get it over the right field fence tonight. He does have a lot of power.
Well, he probably was involved in what I think has been the highlight of the Giants season thus far, the walk-off in the Saturday night game against Brisbane, where down to the last strike, he hit some sort of bouncing hopper that went over the head of Searle and then totally befuddled the third baseman, who fumbled it twice. 2 players cross, it's a walk-off win. Will not forget that in a hurry. It's that one, should be a fairly regulation play for Ellis. It is. And that'll do it for the second. Don't forget, get into the quiz. But right now it's the Aces 1, the Giants 0. Friday Night Baseball.
When your GP suggests an X-ray, low-dose CT scan, ultrasound or MRI, you can experience the difference of truly individual care and one focus, you. Sound Radiology is your choice for special attention, your choice for peace of mind, your choice when results are important. People from all over South Australia turn to Sound Radiology. One central location, one central focus, you. Call 1300 Radiology. Sound Radiology, your choice when care is everything.
Zambrero, made to order Mexican from fresh, quality ingredients. Explore our menu, dine in or grab and go. Vegan and gluten-free options, fresh and healthy. Zambrero, Mexican with a mission.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
Well, on camera, it looks a glorious night, but you'd want to bring a hoodie and be a little bit, stand behind a wall to protect yourself from the wind.
Either bring one down or grab one down at the one of the new Adelaide Giant hoodies at the
Hey.
pro shop down there.
Hey.
Because you're definitely going to need it tonight. But as you mentioned, it is a beautiful visual night, and Friday night baseball. Where else do you want to be? This is like Sunday night baseball for me back home. I feel like David Ross sitting up here tonight doing a game.
Thanks, Rodney, for the cricket score update. Jose, it's 1:28 in the morning. Now, I can only suspect that is West Coast USA, possibly. Oh, West Coast Canada. I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Or West Coast Mexico. Or
Yeah, it's got to be West Coast of in North America, or maybe a little further south, but it's got to be there. That's because I know it's about 3:30 in the morning my family back home, and that's in the middle of Canada, so.
So it's going to be Jared Dale, then we'll go back to the top of the order. Shijima Dale trying to lay a bunt to get things underway.
Well, so far it's been the pitcher's duel. Both pitchers have been filling up the strike zone, so why not try to set the table for the top of the order by getting on with a little sneaky bunt?
Well, I'm going to remember to thank Aces management that they've only got one Dale in the lineup so far, so don't get the two confused. Jared the younger pops that one up. Should be fairly easy for Stobie once he works out the wind. And that's one away. To the top we go.
Yeah, that one again, it comes off the bat fairly well, but you're not going to have any luck going to right field tonight unless the wind picks it and swirls it around, and then the outfielders have a little trouble with it. But that one was an easy one for Stobie to camp under and get himself the first out. And we'll go back to the top of the order for Yuma Mune, third baseman tonight. And takes a slider on the inside corner for the strike. And first at bat, it was a 6-3 putout, but it may have went off the pitcher's glove, so it may technically be a 1-6-3, but wasn't able to get on to start the game.
Now we've got watchers from New Jersey, a Mariners fan. The little Califax. Califax, I've got to tell you, was the first one tuned into the broadcast about an hour before we went to air, so thank you for your enthusiasm. Hope you're enjoying the night here. It is the Aces 1-0. 0-2 count on Yune. That one just on the outside missing.
It's a good miss there from Nushijima. 0-2 pitch. You're looking for something either up out of the zone, out or out, and that one he went out. Tried to get him to swing and miss, but still ahead 1-2. That was a good pitcher's pitch. He's going to go down, still looking for a swing and miss, as he knows he's still up on the count. But with him now at 2-2, you have to go back and attack the hitter. You got good conditions for the ballpark today, so you've got to trust your defense that they're going to help you out. And you got to go attack now.
Mune was 6 from 16. Make that another one to add to his tally. It's a nice safe hit to right. And he will stay at first. Some scores around the Diamonds. There are 3 games underway at the moment. Of course, here it's the Aces 1, Giants 0. Top of the 6th in the early game in Canberra, and it's the Sydney Blue Sox 1, the Canberra Cavalry 1. Blue Sox won the opener last night. And top of the first just underway in Brisbane, the Auckland Tuatara 0, Brisbane 0.
That's good to see they were able to get that started. They had a little bit of some heavy rain over there, which delayed that game a little bit. Wouldn't have been fun to try to remake that this weekend with the other games as well. So good to see they're started.
Well, the way Brisbane do it is they don't have a Sunday game. They play Thursday, Friday, and 2 on Saturday. So if they don't get Friday off and Auckland fly out first thing Sunday, then we're looking at maybe a triple header tomorrow.
Well, that wouldn't have been fun for anybody involved.
Yeah, some questions about the international rules, and look, it's a I don't know whether they call it a bowl of spaghetti, a dog's breakfast, or a jigsaw puzzle, how the international rules work. They do exist.
We know them very well.
They change every season, and now it's all about points. So I think you can generally put whoever you want in whatever position, doing whatever you want at any given time, but by the end of the season, the points have to add up.
Yeah, like you said, it's a little bit of stew. It's I was a little sarcastic when I was like, we know them very well. No.
Super League rules were easy compared to the international ones.
Another throw over to first. That one was dirt there.
So right now we could pretty much be in the outskirts of Tokyo at the moment. We've got Nishijima on the hill, Nishiura at the plate, and trying to pick off Mune.
Mune has 2 stolen bases this year. He has been caught once, so he has run a little bit, but so far,
they have
been
not
overly concerned with him at first base here. and maybe taking away from the pitches that he's making. Another high chopper. This one's going to go to second. They're going to look over it, not be able to get the runner, but they do get the one at first base for the 4-3 putout for the second out of the inning. But the Aces do have a runner in scoring position for Quincy Lattimore.
So the score at the moment, it was a single to Kodai Sano, a tough play for second baseman Peterson. Michelis then drove him in with an RBI double, all the way from first all the way around. That is the scoring thus far. Top of the third, 2 out, but the Aces are threatening as they come to the power man. Quincy Lattimore, Delman Young and Luke Hughes to follow. As Nishijima puts that on the outside. So what has Quincy Lattimore been up to since he was last here? Well, he's had 11 seasons over 1,100 games at minor league level. It's across 6 organisations. Plenty at the AA level, 722 games. Gets the strike there, 2-1, 2 out. Spent 2019 in the Mexican Baseball League. Now you might be able to do this better than me, but I've got it at the Tigres de Quintana Roo.
Sounds perfect to me.
You're not going to try and improve that for me? Oh, and that just woke Lattimore up. Breathe in, son.
I might be better with the European team names.
Yes, you are definitely better with the European.
With those ones than the Latin teams.
If Jordi Mercado gets in, and I've got his notes about the Czech team that he played for, you can talk all about that.
Yeah, oh, definitely. 3-1 pitch to Lattimore, and he's going to rip that one foul. He jumps all over a fastball inside.
Well, this is where we got it. Full count, 2 out, man in scoring position. And Lattimore looks like he's just off for a Sunday stroll. So one of the questions we looked at when we saw that Nishijima was the starter tonight, he's gone 3, 3 and 4 innings. He's working his way through 3 at the moment. How are they going to structure the pitching tonight for the Giants?
Yeah, I don't think there is anybody up yet in the bullpen. We can't quite see. 3-2, and that one's going to be ripped. That one's going to be a fair ball down third base, and that's going to score Mune from second. Lattimore's going to cruise into second with a little bit of a Cadillac double there, gets himself an RBI, and it's 2-0 for the Melbourne Aces.
Okay, so a Cadillac double?
Cadillac double, you just cruise in nice and gentle.
Cruise with the top up.
Yeah, there's no rush. You know you got it.
Yeah. All right, so 2-0, and both RBIs on 2 outs. And I think both on 2 strikes, 2 outs. So maybe we won't talk about the Giants being a strike away for the rest of the game. And that was into the Death Valley left field side. Delman Young comes in with Lattimore at second. He wastes no time giving that old heave-ho. I have seen Young absolutely tattoo a baseball. There's a sign there by the Zambrero sign that says 390. He hit that going about 450 one night. And he's the one man I reckon could still hit a home run in any part of this ballpark in tonight's conditions.
Well, certainly one of the strongest hitters in tonight's game, and probably in the ABL. And this could be a series that he'll be looking to do some damage, as the Giants are going to run out some left-handed starting pitching, and he's always been known as that right-handed hitter that eats lefties. When he was a professional player for multiple organizations, a lot of platoons where he faced only lefties, and he was extremely dangerous. He's going to follow that one back to stay alive at 0-2. But that's what he was kind of known for back when a little bit younger, much like his older brother Dimitri. Those who remember Dimitri Young.
This is important for the Giants to shut this down. I mean, 2 runs is eminently gettable at this level, but you don't want it blowing out too much too early. Young looks like he wants to eat this baseball for breakfast.
Lattimore got a little off second base. It looked like he was going there. He had the timing down, but wise move from Dago. He just held it a little bit longer. Had to make sure the runner's feet are stopped. If he's continuing to move, you can't throw the pitch as the pitcher, because he's just going to take third base on you.
So some discussion about the future of the ABL, sort of Geelong career style. Will there be expansion? See how that all plays out. I think at the moment the focus right now is on Olympics from a Baseball Australia perspective. Some news in recent weeks that Australia doesn't have to go through an Oceania qualifier. They are the Oceania team that will go to a tournament in March and play against the Netherlands, Chinese Taipei, USA or Cuba, most likely. As Young strikes out, that will do it for the Aces. Not before they get another run and take a 2-0 lead. Out hitting the Giants 4-0 now. It's the quiz answer. Let's just get the question up before we have the answer. Which Melbourne Aces player never played for Adelaide? John Kennedy, Quincy Lattimore, or Josh Tolles? Rob, your answer?
I'm going to have to go with the audience here and go with A, John Kennedy. I know Quincy did play here, and I know Josh Tolles fairly well. He's from Adelaide, so I'm going to have to go with John Kennedy.
Well, John Kennedy it is. As we're seeing a dinosaur race right now. And that's something you don't see at the ballpark every day.
No, that's a first for me. But back to the game here. We're going to the bottom of the third, and the Giants scoreless at the moment. The only base runner they had was a leadoff walk last inning for Aaron Whitefield. It was gunned down at third base from a good throw from Kadeki Sano from center field. But 7, 8, 9 coming up. They're going to want to put a little dent in Helsebek's armor here.
Yes, the one on got thrown out at third. Stobie, Edwards, Aklinski. Yeah, so Geelong Career made up one of the expansion teams. There were 6 teams for 8 seasons here in the modern day ABL. And then Auckland Tuatara came in, moving into their new stadium this year at North Harbour. The Geelong Career, well, they were a little bit underdone last year. Didn't quite bring enough pitching. They are certainly more competitive this season. Beat the Blue Sox at home 3-1, split with us. Yes, did get shut out by Brisbane, but I'll tell you, they were in most of those contests. Last night's game against Perth was a bit of a doozy. We've got Stobie Fallimer. Geelong Career went 5-0 up in the first 2 innings. Then I think Perth scored the next 12 runs. And in the last couple of innings, Geelong got another 4 to make it a 12-9 heat win. So that'll be the late game tonight. Now, those of you where too much baseball is never enough, when we're done, they'll be on. So if Geelong works as a Korean, and certainly broadcasting-wise, huge number of people watching from Korea, can we model something with Taiwan and Japan as well? And that's the question that, if it's not answered for next season, I don't think it's going to be too further away.
Still be hanging tough on curveball there. Fouled last couple off, still 0-2.
I forgot to mention those American teams. Canada could still be coming to the qualifier.
Love to get a rematch.
Rob, you may have gathered from the accent. A bit north of the border, American-wise. So Stobie is building up Helsebek's pitch count here. It's 0-2, and I think he's fouled every single one of them.
He's getting that pitch count up, but as we mentioned earlier, he threw 120 last week. I don't think his pitch count is going to be come into factor tonight. That's good fastball. Put Stobie away for the first out of the inning.
So just a little bit of the background of the Aces starting pitcher was Helsebek. Pitched in 3 different colleges in North Carolina. 2015, he was hanging by the phone with the Major League Baseball draft. And of course, we know that there's 30 teams, 15 rounds. It's not even 50, it's some ridiculous amount.
It's like 50 something.
50 rounds. And he's waiting and waiting. Gets to the second day, waiting and waiting. Third day, waiting and waiting. Then the Dodgers actually ring him and say, you know, how much would you want to be paid to play? And he said, oh, mate, that's Dodgers. Play for the Dodgers. Money will work itself out. So he expected his name to be called out. And they went through 2 more rounds, and his name wasn't called out, and it was the end of the draft. And he thought, what the heck was that about? This is going to be a fairly simple play from short. It is. And he reckons it was about, that was Jared Dale on the put-out, about 5 minutes after the draft ended, he got a phone call from the Dodgers. Would you like to sign as a free agent? Which he did.
Certainly a story that a lot of young athletes go through, whether Canadian or American. Lots of guys that I've coached or I know, same story, that teams contact them, approach them about joining, about being drafted and signing, and then they just don't draft, and the assumption is nobody is going to take them, so they kind of gamble that they'll get them, and then they just, right as soon as the draft is over, and it's a free agent, undrafted free agent contract then.
Here's a little bouncer. Elsebeck will collect his own work, and that'll end it. That is a very quick 1, 2, 3 for the Giants. They find themselves trailing 2-0. Hope you're enjoying Friday Night Baseball. Welcome back. A beautiful sunset here at West Beach. Please abide with us as we rearrange some of the furniture here in the Adelaide Giants Media Centre, because we've got ourselves a special guest whilst they warm up. And we've got happy birthday ringing out. David Holmberg joins us. Good evening, David. All suited up, but not tonight. When are you going to be starting this weekend? Tomorrow? Okay. Early game or late game? Okay. Last week, you're in game 2. You're on the mound, and you must have absolutely loved it, because whilst you're pitching, there's runs going everywhere. What's that like as a pitcher, knowing you've got some sensational run support?
Yeah, you can kind of get, as a pitcher, you can also, there's a hot shot, good play there by Curtis Mead at third base. Easy out over first, get Luke Hughes for the first out of the inning. But the hardest part probably when you get a big lead like that is keeping your focus, as you mentioned, so you can continue to pitch well and not just, okay, this game's already over, we got tons of runs, let's just keep going. I'm sure you had no complaints about it. Was that the first time you've been in one of those types of games?
And the first game you pitched down under, you're up on the hill and you look across at the opposing starting pitcher, and it's one of your teammates from Somerset. So you have travelled a lot of the baseball world. Your passport will be looking pretty good. Obviously the US Major League experience. Also got to play in Dominican and Mexican League. I'm intrigued how Australian Baseball League compares with Dominican, given it's both winter leagues. How did you find playing in both? Fly out there, that's second out as the scoreboard just waits to catch up. 2-0 lead to the Melbourne Aces. You're with Phil Hurden, Rob Ushie and David Holmberg. You spent some time with the White Sox, the Diamondbacks and the Reds. Favourite memory from those three organisations, your time in the show? Against my Brewers.
Seems to be how it always is. When you're under the weather, when you're sick, that's when you throw your best games, and it's just not thinking as much and just kind of go through everything.
And mentioned that you're with the Somerset Patriots in the Atlantic League. A lot of discussion about how the league is trialling some new rules, the robo-ump. How did you find that, those automatic pitch calls?
I'd agree just exactly what he said about that, because just talking to lots of guys back home, and the guys understood it was a trial, but they weren't happy with the consistency. Yeah.
So this is where the Giants have come unstuck the last couple of innings. It's been on the second out, and there is a man on after Ellis was walked. He's already had the RBI double. So you've come down to Australia with all this huge diversity of experience. Has anything surprised you about either Australian baseball as Australia, as that one flies out? And just getting, do you do any driving while you're down? Have you tried your hand on the left-hand side of the road? And wouldn't be too much difference in the food now. We seem to have inherited a lot of American food, and Mexican is common everywhere we go with Zambreros. You tried the burrito challenges yet?
There's definitely an endless array of good food choices in Adelaide to choose from at any time of the day.
Alrighty, so you're pitching the first game tomorrow at 4 o'clock, so you're about 20 hours out from your starting role. What preparation are you doing at the moment? Are you just relaxing or studying, getting the arm ready? What's the preparation like a day out?
Without giving away any actual secrets, what's your plan for this weekend? A couple big hitters with Luke Hughes and Delman Young, former majors as yourself. Any plans without tipping too much of how you're going to get them. Strike one's the first most important pitch of the inning.
No worries, David. David, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck tomorrow night, and hope you enjoy your time down in Adelaide. Alrighty. David Holmberg there joining us. Great to have a chat with a Bite player, and we wish him all the best tomorrow. Of course, don't forget, you can watch David live. Get down here to the stadium, 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock start. So we're back to the bottom of the third, and after allowing a run in the second and the third, goose egg thrown up in the fourth. As we're back to the top of the Giants order, Curtis Mead.
Curtis gonna pop up to second base, his first time up. Looking to get his team going here, as after the first 3 innings for the Adelaide Giants, a 1 base runner, just a walk. There's no hits on the board yet. Nothing really going against Wes Hasselbrook, who's just going to be popped up to left field. Looks like shortstop's going to go back on it. Dale's going to call, says he got that one, puts it away for another put out. And that'll be the first out of the bottom of the 4th inning.
Look up some scores around the ABL at the moment. Of course, it is week 4. It is a 10-week Australian Baseball League season. Right now, the Sydney Blue Sox have got ahead of the Canberra Cavalry 2 runs to 1. It's the Melbourne Aces leading Adelaide 2-0. Yep, we know that one. And bottom of the second, Auckland have struck first, as they did last night, beating Brisbane 1-0. The Tuatara looking for their first win at Newmarket. They drew the short straw due to weather in New Zealand. They got to play 5 games there last year, lost them all, and they got beat last night.
And yesterday's game was one of those rare anomalies that I believe the game ended 4-2, so 6 runs. All 6 runs were solo home runs. And I know Stephen Mintz, former manager here from Adelaide, had a nice little quote, something along the lines of, you never mind giving up solo home runs, but when you don't get enough of them in return, it kind of hurts.
So Eric Peterson at the plate, struck out. The first strikeout victim from Helsebet. He did spend 5 years, just had to do my figures in my head there, 5 years in the Dodgers system. I think released back in July.
Well, he keeps pitching the way he's been throwing the last couple of weeks. He's going to find himself on the radar of another organization in the major leagues again. 6 1/3 last week, a 0 and 12 Ks. Tonight he's cruising through 3 so far, filling up the zone with a lot of fastballs, and that are all in the low mid 90s.
Yeah, with the Roos, he was 5-0 as a win-loss record, but his ERA was 4.34. Needed to be a little bit lower at that level. Just that one back, get through. Will this be a play? No, Dale can't pick it up. And I'm going to call that a hit. I'm waiting on the maybe an error. No.
No, I'm calling that one an error. We'll see what the official scores have to say, but I'm going to say an error on that one. I think even Jared Dale probably tell you he should have had that ball for his pitcher.
Well, it's all about the ordinary effort, isn't it? Isn't that the thing?
Yeah, that was just an easy ground ball to him there. It is an error on the board, but pitcher's going to be looking to try to get him another one here, because he knows that you want to get it right back and get double play.
Okay, strike now.
Reynolds was caught looking the first time up and looked to approve on that.
Well, there you go. There's an error on the Aces. What do I know? Fraser and I were very tough. I think we gave everything errors back in the day. And g'day to Fraser if you're watching in Swan Hill. Might be making a special guest appearance to a Tara series, we hope, if they let him out for Christmas. He might be managing the station over Christmas, we don't know.
Saw a little different move there from Heslebrook as the Giants were running early with that one base runner they had. So now he's going to be a little more careful as they went on his first move. Whitefield stole a base easy early in the game here. And now with a little bit of speed on the bases again, Eric Peterson does have 2 stolen bases this year. He's been caught once. And Reynolds does handle the bat well, so possibly looking for a hit and run or a straight steal. Takes another strike, beat 0-2.
So Reynolds started pretty strong, did miss one game of the Sydney series, feeling a bit under the weather. And that first part of the series was a bit of a struggle. Did get the Sunday win. It's that one deep to left, but I don't think anything's going out of there tonight. And in the end, Peterson will hold, and that's 2 out.
Latimer threw his hands up originally on that one there, like he didn't see it. Maybe lost it in a little bit of the lights in the sky behind, but it was right at him. He was able to quickly find that one again. No damage done.
So Aaron Whitefield has a chance to do something here. 2 out with the 1 on.
I think the Giants want to get something going here again. 2 out, maybe they're looking to run some more.
It's the 0 in the hit column that worries me a little bit at the moment. They've been out hit 4-0, and to be honest, they're probably maybe lucky it's only a 2-0 ball game. The Aces error gives them a chance. Stoll attempt at second, right on the money, and there is your 3rd out, and we will see Whitefield in the 5th to lead us off. That'll do it for 4. As Peterson gives a dirty look back at home plate. It is the Aces 2, the Giants 0. You're watching Friday Night Baseball.
When your GP suggests an X-ray, low-dose CT scan, ultrasound or MRI, you can experience the difference of truly individual care and one focus, you. Sound Radiology is your choice for special attention, your choice for peace of mind, your choice when results are important. People from all over South Australia turn to Sound Radiology. One central location, one central focus, you. Call 1300 Radiology. Sound Radiology, your choice when care is everything.
Zambrero, made to order Mexican from fresh, quality ingredients. Explore our menu, dine in or grab and go. Vegan and gluten-free options. Fresh and healthy. Zambrero, Mexican with a mission.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
Comes out the back. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's Jared Dale. Yeah, out by that much there. The lights are on. One of the darker angles. It's not quite. It doesn't look that dark here at the moment, I should add.
No, that looks like it's almost nighttime or cloudy and possibly rainy. There
Yeah,
we
that's
go.
better.
That's what we're at. It's a little cool, a little windy, but it's a beautiful night.
It's dusk, and I reckon the lights are certainly on, no doubt about that. And about in 20 minutes, it will be night time. So the Aces leading this series. They've had an interesting season. They lost their first 2 to Canberra. Then they went on an 8-game winning streak, which is a club record. And then lost their last 2 to Perth. The Sunday was a bit of a heartbreaker to Perth. They managed to score in the 8th to tie it up going into the 9th. And then Robbie Glendinning hit a grand slam off Peter Moylan, if you don't mind. No respect from the younger Aussie to his elder. And the Heat escaped with the series split. As Dale pops this one up. Reynolds says, "It's all mine, folks." And makes it pretty easy. So a fly to right and a pop up to short. 0 for 2 for Jared Dale as we come back to our Buffalo duo. And the Aces used. Do you know much about Japanese baseball, Rob?
Oh, very little. It's an area I haven't been over there yet. It's a part of the world I haven't been able to get to for baseball for myself.
That's your final continent that you're going to conquer one day.
Yeah, I'll make my way over that way when I'm done. When I'm done here, and
It's just a little bit of a detour. Cherry blossom season in April. Very nice time. As we do have Monet at the plate. Takes a good, big first swing. So the Oryx Buffaloes are actually one of the newer teams in the Nippon League. They actually were a merger of two clubs between the Kanetsu Buffaloes based in Osaka and the Oryx Blue Wave based in Kobe. And they do split their home games between the two cities. It's only about 15 minutes away by Shinkansen, the bullet train. That one flies out. I've got one more out to tell my Buffalo story. And when they came in, there was a major restructure of Japanese baseball planned. In the end, the merger brought in the Rakuten Golden Eagles. They kept it at 12. Unfortunately for the Buffaloes, they finished 6th in their league last year. And the problem with that is there's only 6 teams in the Pacific League. They finished with a 61, 75 and 7 record, 16 games back of the league leaders.
It's never where you want to be, 6th if there's only 6 teams.
There's only way to go up. Now here's the interesting one. Their farm team is in the Western League, where these guys have been playing sort of part with the Buffaloes, part with the farm team. That one is fouled away and uncatchable. This is a bit that got my attention. Their spring camp starts February the 1st. The ABL Championship Series is after February the 1st. So one question in my mind, I didn't have time to go and check it, was should the Aces go the distance, will they have their Buffalo quartet? Because they're certainly playing a key role at the moment.
Well, I think that's something that all the teams are going to have to be asking themselves as they start approaching. There's going to be a ground ball right to second base. Peter's going to come up clean over to first. He's going to get the final out of the inning. And going to go to the bottom of the 5th. Still searching for their first hit, Adelaide, and run, trailing 2-0. But to finish, every team has a lot of MLB affiliated players with it now, and the Japanese players who all do start their spring trainings, as you mentioned, February 1st, early February for the major league teams. Are these players going to be allowed to stay for the playoff teams, or are they going to be recalled back to their clubs?
Yeah, well, the spring training in the States, and this is MLB level, starts mid-February, February 22, around that time. Japanese, with the work ethic that they have, starts the 1st of February, their first spring training game about the 29th. So they have 4 weeks of training without matches that would be unheard of in American circles. So, yeah, that's why maybe some of the independent pitchers, we had David up here earlier, of course the independent ball, not a problem. The Giants do have a lot of Philadelphia Phillies in their lineup, but I think they're going to see out the season. So it'll be interesting to see how that works because they did have the issue when they were linked up with the Cebu Lions in seasons past. And it also hurt the Adelaide Bite, their minor premiership year. They lost a couple of key players right at the wrong time of the year. We'll see how that works. And of course, the other thing is players wouldn't mind actually having a break as well. It's one of the
I guess that's what Christmas is for.
Well, there ain't no break this
One
Christmas.
day.
One day, that's it. And don't eat too much turkey because you're playing Boxing Day on the case of the Giants. Actually, that is a beautiful segue. Thank you. We actually didn't plan that. I want to talk to you about the next home series. The next edition of Friday Night Baseball will be Friday, December 27. Saturday 28 will be Elvis night. We're bringing a World Championship Elvis impersonator
Thank you very much.
To sing along.
It's not me.
I reckon I could just about do Elvis from his Las Vegas days. A couple of burgers in tow. December 29 is movie night. We're going to play a game of baseball. It's going to be late in the day. Then we're going to put up the big screen and have a movie.
I can say that we've done this back home in Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Gold Eyes do it every year. It's a big success. Families love it. kids love to be on the field and stay on the field, so that should be a great time. So if you're around Adelaide, if you're in Adelaide, plan that for your night.
Yes, I'm saying the Japanese players might only be here to Christmas. Could well be the case. So Aaron Whitefield, you might have seen him at the bottom of the fourth. He's back at the top of the fifth because basically, whilst he was at the plate, there was an out at second, a rare failed stolen base. He's back to lead it off.
You see, take another ball there. He did walk his first time up, stole a base, was thrown out trying to take an extra base going to third on a fly ball to center field, where we saw a great arm from Kodai Sano. But so far, the night is his. Wes Hesselbeck. Four innings, hasn't given up a hit yet. I know we're talking commentator's curse here sometimes when we start talking those numbers, but it is still early in the game, so it's not.
Let me throw this commentator's curse right out there. Thanks to some of the stats provided by the Aces, and a cheerio to Nicholas Batter, who's done some incredible work on the stats and media guides and media notes for Melbourne, coming over from Arizona State. When leading after 5, the Aces are unbeaten. They're 5-0.
Well, they got one more inning to set that up, but they do have 4, 5, 6 hitters coming up, and right now 3-2 pitch coming to Aaron Whitefield. He's going to follow that one back to stay alive.
So it'll be Whitefield, Ahope, and Wingrove coming up for the Giants. 4, 5, and 6 in their lineup. Hesselbeck, if he can get through this, would be the winning pitcher if the Aces emerge victorious. But Whitefield manages to line that straight down the throat of Mitch Ellis. Didn't have to move too far, and that is the first away for the Giants.
Good at bat, battled a little bit, took some close pitches, but was able to get the line out there. A little bit of a soft liner, a night like tonight, the ball didn't really go anywhere off his bat there. And we saw in the replay there, the first out of the inning, he's gonna bring up Logan Ahope. Drove a ball hard to center field last time, it just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's right, it's not tonight. Should mention a couple of other news, bits of news for you from the Giants. Kids membership, stack of kids tonight. Hope they've all signed up. $20. You get not just a Giants cap, but also a personalised Giants membership card for entry to games. Here's a big play at third and got there in first. Beautiful work by Yuma Mune.
Great defensive effort there, able to come in, kept his glove wide and open as he scooped that ball up on the ground. Then had time to get his feet under himself, make an accurate throw over to first base. That's almost textbook for that low ball.
So you mentioned the glove open. I'm going to sound like a real mug here. Why is the glove open important?
Well, on a high chopper and then a ball that's going to bounce low, you're not going to get the traditional nice 1 or 2 hops. So you got to keep your glove as big as possible there, keep it low, and you're almost scooping it like a shovel. So
just to allow for a little bit of variance in the bounce.
Correct, yeah. You want to make it, give yourself as much room to stop the ball as possible. Like a catcher, when he goes down to block, he uses his whole body instead of just the glove, because you want to use as much possible, get yourself as big as possible.
Good day to Nicholas Batter, who's on the fee. Thanks, mate. If we get too one-sided, and this one's a little bit hard with this scoreline, there'd be 2 pro Giants right now. Haven't got a hit yet. But if we are one-sided, let us know.
I see a couple of people asking on there about his pitch count and how many pitches he's thrown. We mentioned last week he threw 120, but so far today he's cruising through. I don't know it exactly, but you don't think he's going to go 9. He's telling you he is, as he gets another 1, 2, 3 inning, and we're going to go to the top of the 6th. Still 2-0 Aces.
Going down like dominoes at the moment. That's the end of 5. It is the Aces 2, the Giants 0 on Friday Night Baseball.
When your GP suggests an X-ray, low-dose CT scan, ultrasound or MRI, you can experience the difference of truly individual care and one focus, you. Sound radiology is your choice for special attention. Your choice for peace of mind. Your choice when results are important. People from all over South Australia turn to Sound Radiology. One central location, one central focus. You. Call 1300 Radiology. Sound Radiology. Your choice when care is everything.
Zambrero, made to order Mexican from fresh, quality ingredients. Explore our menu, dine in or grab and go. Vegan and gluten-free options. Fresh and healthy. Zambrero, Mexican with a mission.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
It's Friday Night Baseball. There it is. There's your glorious sunset. Friday Night Baseball from Active Display Stadium in West Beach, suburban Adelaide. The Giants and the Aces, the first game of a 4-game set. And thus far, the Giants' offense is non-existent, hitless thus far. Aces have put 4 hits on the board and we're about to go to the power trio, Lattimore, Young and Hughes.
Said at the beginning of the game it was going to be a pitcher's duel. It's exactly what we have right now. And we have Dago Nishijima out there for his 6th inning of work. This is something that we'll have to monitor. This could be the big inning that the Melbourne Aces can try to open it up. I'm sure the Giants must have someone in the bullpen going. We can't quite see what's going on down there, so we don't know if there's anyone down there, but he's only thrown 3 innings and 4 innings in this so far this season. We're in inning 6.
I don't know about if there's anyone in the bullpen. There was a gremlin in the PA system there for a sec, causing the hold on plate. So yes, we weren't sure how far Nishijima would go. He's going to go, well, he's gone through 5, looking to go through 6 as we speak. Just trying to work out with the new system, can we actually get a pitch count up? It's eluding me at the moment, but not without trying. In fact, I can tell you that Hasselbeck has had 62 pitches and Nishijima has thrown 73.
We're probably in the last inning for Nishijima if he can get through this one. We saw Lattimore had a double last time down the line. He was looking for another one as he was picking on third base line once again. He's looking to pull a ball and drive something and stay away from the wind. That one's going to drive deep into left field. We're going to see if that one's going to stay fair. That one's going to hook around the pole, and that's a foul ball.
But not by a lot. Maybe 5 meters. Now, when it travels 320 feet, that's not a lot.
And we see the umpire got out down the line, and then maybe a little grumbling from the Aces bench as they're hoping for that 3rd run, but it was reconfirmed by the home plate umpire. Yeah, he would have called it a foul ball as well. So
it is one of the things about this ballpark. The foul poles are short, and it has caused some few issues from time to time, including a manager's ejection one Sunday afternoon. That's one right back by Lattimore, and that will be a lead-off single for the Aces as Delman Young strides to the plate.
2 for 3 nights so far for Quincy Lattimore in his return to Adelaide against them. And that's one that pitcher's eyes get real big when it comes shooting right back at you. I could see the reaction of Nishijima on his face from up here, and he knew that one was close to his head.
Yes, it's not going to get any easier for him here. Once again, Young has a swing at the first pitch. That'll go over the burrito bowl.
He's done a good job handling Delman Young tonight as a hitter who hits lefties very well. It was an easy 6-3 ground ball to shortstop, and last time he struck him out on a fastball up. So far, Nishijima has had Delman. There goes Quincy Lattimore, and he's got picked off. It's going to be a throw to second base. That one's going to go wide. The second baseman, shortstop, Mikey Reynolds, going to knock it down. It's going to be a stolen base for Quincy Lattimore. And now Delman Young's got a man in scoring position with nobody out.
Indeed. If he can find a gap, it's going to be a 3-0 because Lattimore still he's no longer quite the young'un that we had before as Tank Adamson comes out, and this might be Nishijima's night. And again, you'd have to say the fact that Lattimore's on second, not entirely his fault. Did give up the hit straight back at him.
Looks like it's pitching coach Josh Spence coming out to have a little chat here. And this could be the, they did get a strike on the batter. So they are ahead 0-1 the count. But when you don't have any hits on the board and you're already trailing by a couple, you know it's going to be a little bit low scoring night. You can't make a mistake. So it might be a little bit, let's pitch around him a little bit, try to make him get himself out, but don't give him something that he can hit.
Yeah, you're right, he's staying in there, which surprised me a little bit that there was, the Giants do have a translator who comes out from time to time. Did so with, oh no, I remember in his first outing. Maybe over the weeks they've got to understand each other a little bit, and maybe not required.
Probably picked up, yeah, some of the language probably rubbed off, maybe a few signs, where the conversation might have been even more for Mitch Edwards behind the plate. For what they wanted to, how they wanted to call the game. And that one missed. There's the pitch that kind of misses wide, and it was not even really anything Delman Young would offer at.
Didn't tempt him. Young getting fully focused on the pitch. Puts that high. Playable to Stobie and right, has to make way with the wind, does so pretty well. Lattimore decides to stay at second, which was, I think, a pretty good choice by Lattimore because Stobie can hurl it a long way. And that's the Young throw diverted, but out of the frying pan into the fire, here comes the ABL career home run leader in Luke Hughes.
Big out there for Nishijima, as they didn't have anybody out before that with the man there, and Delman Young is the big power threat for the Melbourne Aces. But as you mentioned, it doesn't get any easier with Luke Hughes coming up now.
So Hughes is due. Hasn't got on base yet tonight. Happy to see that one miss the plate. It's getting late in the game in Canberra. A score there in just a sec. Bottom of the 8th indeed. Canberra trailing 2-1 to Sydney. Meanwhile in Brisbane, top of the 4th, and the Tuatara have loaded bases and lead 3-0, and that was top of the 4th, none out. So chance for them to put a bit of a gap between them and the Bandits. Of course, 2 Northeast Division teams, all divisional games this weekend. Later on, Game 2, Perth and Geelong Career outside. That was just a little bit outside.
That's the Bob Euchre, just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside. There's my man, Bob Euchre, Brewers Radio Network, WTMJ Milwaukee. Broadcasters are my favorite Milwaukee Brewers team.
Keep an eye on Latimer at second base there. He's going to fist that one in. Latimer's going to get caught in basically no man's land. He knew he shouldn't have gone, and he's going to be tagged out for the second out of the inning. And he got a little off second base there, a little bigger, too much of a lead. He saw him put his head down, and he wanted to stop, but had to keep going. But Melbourne Aces 2 out now, man on first only. Nishijima's doing a good job of getting himself out of trouble every inning.
So we're down to the 2-8, 2-out scenario, which has been the Giants' Achilles heel thus far, and there is a man on. Probably happier it's Hughes at first rather than Lattimore at second. This is Sano.
Singleton scored earlier this game. Scored from first base on the big double from Mitch Ellis, the 2-out double in the second inning. So far, it made it 1-0. It's the go-ahead run, and he came flying around third base there. Back then, and he's going to take good slider there. The 0-2 count.
I like the others here. 23-year-old, 2 years with the Buffaloes. He was solely in the farm team last season, 88 games. So 68 games with the Buffaloes this year. Average 207. And that's a single to right. And now 2 on, 2 out. And it's just getting the third out. It's proven a challenge for Nishijima tonight. 5th hit of the ball game and an error thus far. I have 1 walk, and so he's been pretty tidy, and I think this will be his night done and dusted. Probably fair enough, because that pitch count would be getting up a little bit now around the 80 mark, I would suggest.
Certainly Giants have to be happy with his start tonight. Trailing 2-0 at the moment. The offense hasn't gotten anything going, but for a pitcher who's only been giving them 3-4 innings out of the bullpen, or last week when he started and it was 4 innings, to get 5 2/3 today, nearly 6 complete, only 5 hits, 2 runs, they've got to be pretty happy with that.
On an average day, that is a great outing. And 2 runs in 5 innings is not a bad return. Not sensational, but it's certainly not bad, not horrendous.
It's a quality start.
He's not had no run support thus far.
No, and that's, as a pitcher, that's going to happen. You can only do what you're going to do, but looks like Greg Mosell's going to take over for the Adelaide Giants here. We've seen him in pretty much every series as the first reliever that's come out of the pen in the series.
Well, last year, or the previous 2 years, he was one of the starters. They get a little bit more flexibility. So Mosell pitched, and you're right, he was the first reliever in game 1 last week. Pitched 1 inning, gave up 1 earned run, 1 walk, and a home run. His ERA sits at about 3.86, just 21 pitches and the 3 outs. We'll see if they use him just to get this 3rd out, or whether they'll work him through a little bit more. What are we in the 6th? So we're a fair way from the setup man and the closer. Got to get through 6, 7. And maybe Mosell's the man to do that.
Yeah, I think Adams is looking for someone that he probably trusts a little bit, from having him, as you mentioned, a starter last season. Had a little bit of a rougher season, but this year it looks like his velocity is back and his off-speeder is moving. So used him early, and then he can come back to him possibly on Saturday or Sunday. But today, he needs at least 1 out here out of him to get out of a little bit of trouble. 1st and 2nd, 2 out, and they'll probably want a little more if he can do this.
So we're back to Mitch Ellis, whose 3rd time around. He had the key RBI double in the 2nd that opened the scoring, and walked in the 4th, so yet to be retired, so to speak. Oh gee, that's way low, and that will mean everyone advances, and all of a sudden it's a moment for the Aces here. 2 out, but 2 men in scoring position. It's Luke Hughes at 3rd and Sano at 2nd. Another one of those, and the Aces will have another run. Brazil checks off the signal, looks at 3rd, puts that in the wheelhouse. That goes straight to Wingrove, who will do his own laundry. The threat is averted. Mosell does the job, gets the out they needed. That is through now 6.5, 2-0 Aces. And we'll wait to see if the Giants can put something on the board at the bottom of the 6th.
So far the offense hasn't gone anywhere. There's no hits on the board yet for the Giants. They've had 2 base runners, 1 walk in which there was a stolen base and then a putout. The other base runner got on an error and was promptly caught stealing. So far the maybe they'll be getting some of these kids out there to clog up the open spaces, so some balls can so the defenders can't get to the balls.
That's one of the biggest run the bases I've ever seen at this ballpark. fantastic. Of course, there was an under-11s club carnival held in the fields outside the stadium beforehand. They all came in to watch the game. Great to see they've stuck around to run the bases, and hopefully a wow moment for them. Speaking of wow moments, if you're an Aces fan, you've got to get down to the Melbourne ballpark. They've got a new video board. I don't know if you've seen this. It's huge, 6 by 11 metres. Premium seating is cushioned. Seats come with a cushion.
Oh,
sorry. Friday night fireworks.
Could we install it up here?
On Sunday, Santa will be there at the ballpark. Each child will receive a Santa lolly stocking. Sunday, free Buller ice creams at the end of every home game. Celebrity pictures, great variety of food, including the Aces burger. And they're going to have a GK bird. Of course, for group bookings, they have the party deck. Go to melbourneaces.com.au. They have a big series next week. The intrastate series, I'm going to call it the M1. And if you know, getting from Geelong to Melbourne, you got no other way but the M1. And of course, Geelong Korea coming back from their trip to Perth will go up the road and decide which is the premier team based in Victoria. And that was an interesting little rivalry that developed between those clubs. If you're in town, make sure you get to Melbourne Ballpark.
Yeah, we see a big curveball there from Hasselbeck, sorry. And he's got the 7, 8, 9 hitters coming up. Cole Stobie, Mitch Edwards, and Ben Aklinski. Stobie struck out his first time up. He's looking to do a little damage here and get that first hit to maybe open the door, kick the gate open for the rest of the batters.
So just checking the Giants lineup here. It will be 7, 8, 9. And whilst the Aces are going their third time around, the Giants are still working their second time around. This is Stobie's second at bat. He struck out back in the third. We talked about Nishijima's pitch count. Well, Hasselbeck is on 62 pitches at the moment after 5. So that's just over 12 pitches an inning. That is quite efficient.
Another strikeout of Cole Stobie tonight. That's going to be the 5th one of the night for Hasselbeck. You mentioned him being at 62 before this inning. Yeah, another 5, that's 67. I don't see anything really moving around down in Melbourne's bullpen. He threw 120 last week, but when you haven't given up a hit, you're not coming out of a game until that happens, unless your pitch count gets way up there.
Correct. And he already has form on the board with 120 last week against Perth. You think unless he shows some sign of fatigue, and there ain't nothing there at the moment, that he's going to head towards that target. So he's got quite a few left in the arm as we speak. Keeps at this pace, he could go, he could almost, to quote Chris Merriman, he could almost go all the way.
Yeah, we did see the Giants couple the batters last inning. The first pitch, they just basically stood up. They weren't going to swing at it. So they're trying to maybe get that pitch count up. They're trying to get to the bullpen because so far, Hasselbeck's had their number tonight. And that one's going to upright Edwards.
It was.
Even the count 1-1.
He basically stood at attention at that one, didn't he? Fully vertical.
As a pitcher, sometimes you got to zip one up in there if you think the batter's hanging over the plate a little bit. So you're going to move it around. That one, Edwards going to pop that one up. Dale's going to say he's got that one. He's going to battle the wind a little bit, but he's going to find himself camped right underneath it for the second out of the inning. We're going to bring up Ben Aklinski, the left fielder. We'll hit one right back to the pitcher last time for the 1-3 putout. He'll be looking to help his team and start a 2-out rally.
So this says the Giants did have some hitting woes in Sydney. Their first 2 games didn't register a run. Don't want to get into a same fun here at home. Of course, they do have the 4-game winning streak, courtesy of the Brisbane series. Currently 1 game back of Melbourne, 1.5 back of Perth, who play later today. So if they win this, they're right in a 3-team mix. They do not want to drop off the top 2, though. Looks like that's the way in the northeast, with Sydney and Brisbane getting a break on Canberra and Auckland. The way the playoff system works, it's a 10-week season. The 8-team comp is split into 2 conferences. The Southwest is Geelong, Korea, Melbourne, Adelaide and Perth. Top 2 are in the semis, but there is a wild card game if you're the best third-place finisher. But you just don't want to be aiming for that, because that means you're on the road for the whole, well, you're on the road for the wild card game.
Yeah, you
it's tough from there.
You certainly want to have the best record. You want to win. You want to get home field, and to do that, you got to win home games.
Melbourne this weekend, travelling to Perth next weekend. Zaklinski basically does force Sano to drop back, but in the end an easy catch. And again, 1, 2, 3. The Giants are scoreless. They trail 2-0. That'll do it for 6 on Friday Night Baseball. Definitely night time now here at Active Display Stadium. The lights are on, and thus far it was, as predicted by our expert Rabashi, a pitcher's duel, a 2-run total game, and the Giants all donuts. No runs from no hits, only an error by the Giants, by the Aces, and a walk has seen a Giants player on base.
Yeah, and I did see a question earlier on the feed there, and someone was asking if there's ever been a no-hitter in ABL history, and the answer to that, there's been one. It was David Welch of the Sydney Blue Sox in February 4th of 2011. He did it in game 1 of a preliminary playoff series.
Wow, well, there you go. You have outstatsed me. That is no mean feat. Well done. I'll have to find how you did that.
Dr. Google.
Dr. Google. Okay, well done. If that bounces off a cover. This is D. San Miguel at the plate. So for the Aces, it's going to be 8-9-1. D. San Miguel, Jared Dale, and then back to the top of the order. And good to see the veteran umpire and player having a nice moment there.
I'll give the catcher a little bit of time to walk off a foul ball that got him probably a little awkwardly, as we see Greg Mazzelzin came in last inning, got the out he needed to get his team out of trouble, and now he's going to keep going, and the Giants are going to need him to keep putting up zeros because they haven't scored yet.
So D-San yet to get on base tonight. Actually struggled a little bit with the bat. It would be interesting because they do have a backup catcher who's actually hitting quite well. So you can see if at some point they'll bring him in as a DH. D-San will launch into that. Play a bullet short. Reynolds should mop this up pretty easily, and he does. Leadoff man's away.
Yeah, I imagine you mentioned the backup catcher, Chris Burke. He's one of the players that's over. We'll probably see him tomorrow, as there's, I believe, a doubleheader tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So can't see one catcher having to do both games of a doubleheader.
Colin Willis is the other one that we might see, although he tends to be a little bit more of a DH. Young lad from Wisconsin. But right now it's with Jared Dale. So the Dales, now they are Victorian baseball royalty. Of course, Phil, Australian rep, has the winning record at the moment for the Aces. So you've got Ryan, the 23-year-old, and Jared. Jared's the 19-year-old. He's 19. He's played 107 ABL games.
As a 19-year-old.
As a 19-year-old.
Very impressive.
He was born 4 days before the Sydney 2000 Olympics. MVP in the under-16 Nationals in 2017. Made his Aces debut in 2016, aged 15. What were you doing aged 15, Rob? You were playing National League Baseball, were you?
No, playing baseball. I started playing baseball when I was 12 and made my way to an organization when I was 18, so that helps being a left-handed pitcher. We're rare. But at 15, I'm sure I was playing video games.
This is a bounce at a third, stays fair. And he beat it out. Hustle by Dale. Shows the wheels. Mead had to wait for it just a little bit. Dale didn't need a lot of time. Here's your replay.
As ball's hit, Mead had to wait. Sees that it lands fair. Good throw there. That's exactly what you need from that distance. A nice clean one hopper for your first baseman. You see Wingrove stretch out, but Dale ran hard the whole way down the line. That's why you always hustle. Get yourself an infield single.
And the other thing was just because of where that base was and where the bounce was, he couldn't attackingly run at the ball.
No.
Which helps your arm strength. He was throwing from a standing start. And if like a quarterback, you prefer to take the drop and be able to set the feet. Just didn't have the time to do that. Back to the top. And you might have seen there, as you see the first base, you might see coming into pitch now, the first base coach. That's Daryl George, if I've got that right. And that's probably the sad story for the Aces this year. George, long-time player, out injured in Premier 12. As that one eats up Peterson. Everyone's safe. 2 on, 1 out, and this is starting to look dangerous.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a routine ground ball here. He sets himself to flip for the double play, but just doesn't quite get ball first. And it, unfortunately for Eric, it scooted a little bit away from him. He wasn't able to recover to get the man at first. And now the Giants are in a little bit of trouble again, first and second with 1 out. And part of the order coming up that they've had a little bit of trouble with tonight. After they got Hiato Nishimura, who they've handled, but then Lattimore and Young, and Lattimore's been a one-man wrecking machine.
All right, now let's just get this united between the commentary crew. That will be an error for second base?
Correct.
Right, okay. Just want to check before I put it in the book.
Well, with that, the Giants do have a number on the board now.
Yes, they do. It's not 3 donuts anymore. It's the number that you don't want to have. And this ballpark historically, and it's 1 error each, I should add, but this ballpark historically, if you have more errors than your opposition, you lose about 70% of your time because it does make such a big difference. All the ones, top of the 7th, 1 out, 2 on. Hayato Nishiura. Quite happy to show some patience and get ahead in the count 2-1. Nishiura has 8 RBIs from his 17 hits, including 2 home runs thus far this season. He's averaging .370 coming into tonight, so in form. Puts that one long to Stobie, back by the fence. The wind will bring it back in, but it's deep enough to get a run at a third, so give that as a sacrifice option. And the Aces have men on the corner.
That's a good piece there by Nishiura, but we said it earlier, you hit anything to right, it's not going anywhere. Tonight he picked the wrong part of the ballpark. He maybe picked the wrong night of the week to hit it there, but the Giants will take it as it gets the second out of the inning. Runners on the corners now. Quincy Lattimore, who's so far tonight driven in the second run with a double and then single and stole a base. 2 for 3.
So Lattimore, along with Sano, multiple hits so far tonight. And Mosel doesn't quite know where to look. He's got runner at third to keep an eye on, which would be Dale.
See if the Aces do want to run Mune there. He does have some speed. He has a few stolen bases, but with their two big hitters up, and he is running. And Latimer's going to hit that one to right, and that one's going to sail into over the bullpen and out into the car park for a foul ball. Running on that play, but it's the part that as managers where you get paid the big bucks to, if you want to send him, if he gets thrown out with your two big hitters up, it looks pretty bad, but stolen base is a big reward. If he gets a hit, that's 2 more runs, which in a 2-0 game, turning it 4 is really big.
Yeah, this is a moment. 1-1 count, 2 out. Lattimore goes deep to right. Will it drop? Foul? Fair it does. Another run to the Aces. Pinpoint position placement by Quincy Lattimore. He's 3 for 4. It's a 3-run ball game.
Quincy Lattimore coming back to haunt his former club. As we see the pitch, runner not going on play, but that ball found its way on the left field line. It must have landed maybe a foot fair, but Quincy Latimer tonight now 3 for 4, 2 RBIs. And the Giants have to get the next out here from Delman Young. And that one's going to be taken high for a strike, as their offense already struggling, can't afford to keep falling back by more runs.
Absolutely, it's a 3-run ball game now. Young still has he has 2 players on base to try and drive home. What's that? The wind, I think, should take that right into the burrito bowl. Boing. There it goes.
Someone might want to get the burrito put aside. That could be something new we see when the cameras are over there. We always see in major league games fans catching balls, holding beers, holding babies. Maybe we have one catching a burrito.
Yeah.
All kidding aside, big 1-1 pitch here.
Yeah.
Already 1 unearned run so far this inning.
Why do you think Young's going to be swinging?
Back pick at first base, in there and safe.
Oh, okay. Now, that looked too smooth to be anything but intentional, to throw out and throw to first.
Yeah, they probably saw something on the play before. We see, good call there, Lattimore gets in safely. That they saw him get a little bit big, and so you call a fastball outside, that the catcher's already coming up, and he's going to back pick. You're throwing a ball, purposely throwing a ball there.
Gets a swing there. So I'm intrigued by the logistics. Was that called by Edwards? Or because against the Brisbane Seas, he got a pick off at third at a key part of the game, something similar to that. That's not coming from the dugout, that's coming from the catcher?
It could come from whoever's actually noticing it. It could come from the first baseman if he sees it. Lots of times it does come from the dugout, from the coaching staff. They'll be the ones watching the leads from the players, and then or the catcher if he sees the runners just extending too much for what his liking. He thinks he's got a chance to get him, that he'll call that outside fastball, and he'll go sit way outside, so he knows the pitcher, I want it way out here because I'm going to pop and try to get that guy behind.
All the 2s. It's a Richie as Young again fouls that. If you wanted to be a kid tonight wanting to take a baseball home as a souvenir, you'd park yourself out the back of the burrito bowl, I reckon. There's been at least 10 that have gone in that general vicinity.
Yeah, well, we see the flags blowing in right field. They were blowing straight in towards us at the start of the game.
Yeah, it's turned a little bit, hasn't it?
It's now turned more towards right field, which is exactly where you said all the balls going. We do see the bullpen up for the Adelaide Giants.
So Tyson McKee, who we called starting pitcher for the Clippers in the Super League Baseball Grand Final, just, when was that, 48 hours ago?
Yeah, congratulations to the Clippers. Big curveball there from
Huge.
Greg Moselle, called on the inside corner. That's going to end the inning, but defense cost them a little bit and give up one earned run. When you don't have any hits on the board, every run's important. They're now losing 3-0.
We go to the bottom of the inning, and the Giants have some work to do. Of course, the Australian Baseball League, there's 4 games on tonight. Just checking if we have a final from Canberra. We do. And the Sydney Blue Sox have emerged victorious over Canberra 2-1. That puts Canberra in a pretty big hole. They're down 0-2 in a home series. Sydney, well, they're just trying to stay ahead of Brisbane. To do that, they need a little bit of help from the Auckland Tuatara. And the Tuatara are helping. Bottom of the 5th, they are 3, and the Bandits being shut out at Newmarket at the moment, where every pop fly brings you a run.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest surprise so far you've mentioned, is that they got a 0 on the board in Brisbane.
That's it. Sweet Caroline time here at the ballpark. Good to see some Aces fans in town. You know, that gentleman in the front row, I think he's been here in Adelaide. Every time Melbourne travel, he's here. Of course, in terms of cities, it's between 2 state capitals. Melbourne and Adelaide are the closest. It's 730 kilometres. Not sure if you're able to do the imperial measurement there, Rob. I reckon it's about 500 miles.
Canadians, we do kilometres.
Oh, your metric, you're in the modern world in Canada.
We do the proper.
So it was one of the shortest trips in baseball. Canberra shortens that up a little bit. That's the nation's capital. And now, of course, Melbourne's got Geelong. The long trip is when you go from Perth to Auckland. Yes. You cross 5 time zones. That's why one team's in the Southwest Division and one team's in the Northeast.
Yeah, it's being in different conferences in North American sports when you're nowhere close to each other.
You'd be in different leagues in the States. So, Helserbeck into the 7th. And yes, there are some donuts on the Giants box score. Won't say anything more than that. As much as I don't believe in the commentator's curse, I appreciate the tradition.
Yeah, we're now into the bottom of the 7th. You had the fans up for the 7th inning stretch, trying to urge their team on and get them going, because they got a little bit of work to do. They're trailing 3-0, and they got to start somewhere first.
Well, it's just been, there's been no more than 3 plate appearances every inning. Even when they've had the error or the walk, there's been some out that occurs around the bases that negates it.
Yeah, they've had 2 base runners. They had a walk and the error, and then so far there's going to be a ground ball. He's scooped up by Ellis. He's running hard, but he's going to be out. And so far, he's faced the minimum through 6 1/3 innings because of that.
Correct, Amundo. And a guy like me, who's averaging in the 300s, is 0 for 3 tonight. Peterson 0 for 1 because there was an error. He did get on earlier, but then got caught stealing at second. Just go back to Helserbeck's pitch count. You count this call this at bat, Rob.
Going to jump on the first pitch. That was going to be driven deep to left field. That one's going to get up, and gone. They got their first hit, their first run. Solo home run for Eric Peterson, and it's 3-1. Giants are coming back.
Oh, that's it. You're calling the rest of the game. There she goes. Out of pretty much nothing. Into the bit of the breeze. 325 feet to left. And everyone exhales because the Giants are on the board. Only 1 hit, but they've made it a good one.
It's exactly what the dugout and the bench are going to be looking for there. They needed that one. You got to start somewhere, and once you get one, kick the door open, and then maybe the floodgates go. That one's going to be driven to center field, back-to-back, but that one will just be drift a little bit, and easy catch there for the center fielder. De Sano. He's been pretty busy in center field tonight.
He has.
But with the winds, nothing really dangerous for him.
Scott Pratt and Scott's on assignment tonight with other commitments. Happens around Christmas time of year. But we talk a lot about how this is not the place where you really swing for the fences a lot, especially if the weather is not for you. And probably something Adelaide's been a bit guilty. Melbourne have been very good at finding some gaps tonight. 7 hits to 1.
7 hits to 1, 3 of them from an old friend, Quincy Lattimore, for Adelaide fans that maybe he's not their friend tonight.
Well, he's never played at this ballpark before, because all of his heroics and exploits were at Norwood, the original home. And meanwhile, Whitefield is on the board. And thought for one moment, I thought, gee, that is too audacious to try when you hit it to second and you're going for a 2-bagger. But he looks fired up. And now the tying run, and Logan Ahope comes to the plate.
The second time Whitefield's been on base tonight. He walked in his first at-bat in the second, stole second base, and then was tagged out at third, trying to advance on a fly ball to center field. But with the home run, breaking up the scoreboard, and now another single here. There are 2 out, but Melbourne Aces do have the bullpen going.
Well, Melbourne have got most of their runs on 2 out tonight. Here's an interesting discussion. Aaron Whitefield and Luke Hughes. You'd have to say the past is probably not fair because he's still playing. And I think 2 Australian baseball legends, one certainly is and one is well on his way, having a little chat. Of course, Australian teammates with the Premier 12 tournament.
Helsebeck keeping a little closer eye on Whitefield this time. Last time when he stole a base, he went on first movement. So he'll show him a couple different looks. As we see back-to-back throws over first base.
The game within the game.
One of the things you have to do as a pitcher at this point is you do want to keep him close. You give your catcher a chance to throw him out if he does go, but it's a tying run at home plate. You don't want to lose the focus. The man at first doesn't really matter right now. The man at the plate is the one you really have to. You don't want to lose your focus. You got to pay attention to him. If you make another mistake, he's going to put one over the fence, and we're going to have a tie game.
I was about to say, Whitefield is not going to tie the game for you.
The man batting here is tied for the Giants' lead in home runs.
Well, one of the matchups tonight was going to be the top 2 sluggers in the ABL as we speak, Delman Young and Ahope from the Giants. Should add for Peterson, that was his second home run this season.
Time called there on the play.
So Hoppe is averaging 296, slugging 667. So he's had 8 hits, 1 double, 3 home runs. So half of his hits have been extra bases. This is turning to be a very long at-bat.
Fans are getting restless with it.
Of course, none of the throws to first count as pitches. Still got to wear the arm out to a certain degree. Hasselbeck's up to 86. Whitefield is off. Throw is to the wrong side. It needed to be to the right side. It was to the left, and Whitefield has his second stolen base.
Whitefield may be looking at trying to make a run at that stolen base ABL title this season. He keeps getting on base and stealing as he's in easy. You mentioned all his stats and features earlier in the game. And one of the things, he is listed as the top prospect for the Minnesota Twins in speed and base running.
Absolutely. Well, stolen bases, ABL leader, Aaron Whitefield. That was 9, caught 0 times. He's now up to 11 from 11. In fact, he's now had more stolen bases in 13 games than the entire Adelaide Bite had 2 seasons ago.
That's just the different attitude the Giants went into this season. They knew they couldn't have the same type of team they had last year. They couldn't rely on doubles and home runs. They had to play smaller type baseball. And so far, especially at home. And right now, you're an undefeated team at home. You're 4-0. This game's still long from being over. 2 runs is the blink of an eye. It's a bloop and a blast, a walk and a knock.
That's it. So, how are you reading the body language here of Helserbeck at the moment?
I think he's probably getting a little bit tired. He's paying more attention to the runners, which means he's not focusing as much, and his pace is slowing. He's not as quick to the plate. He's not give me the ball back and go, give me the ball back and go that he was when he was cruising. He's slowing down, and that just slows the whole game down and keeps your defense out longer. So
2 out, full count. Giants with Whitefield in scoring position. Big payoff pitch right here. And it was on the outside, and he didn't swing through. And it's 2 on, and that is a great at-bat from Logan Hoppe. Won't do anything to his average or slugging stats. That was sensational. Just the second walk given up tonight by Helserbeck, and that might be good night.
Well, the bullpen is up and going. With a lefty coming up so far tonight, Wingrove has hit a slow little roller to second base and then struck out his last at-bat. So we have seen Helserbeck handle Rickson Wingrove fairly well tonight. It doesn't look like they are going to make the change. They're going to let him go. His pitch count is still probably in the low 90s. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it is in a reasonable amount.
Before that at-bat, it was 86.
So it's going to be, low 90s now. But this is probably his last batter.
Correct. Well, then again, he's only got to get an out, and he's made his way through 7. And given up 1 earned run and 1 hit through 7. That's not, well.
The quality start could disappear real quick. So this is where you have to make sure you're making good pitches. The pitching coach probably came out, even told him that this was going to be it, and just get him out of the inning, blow it out, let everything he has left on there. Don't worry about saving some more for 2 more innings, because this is the guy you got to get and get us home.
Oh, look, if your starter can go 7, you've done your job. So 1-0 count, 2 out. Rickson Wingrove at the plate, yet to get on base. Not Robinson Caruso from the Giants in that. Whitefield is at second, Hoppe is at first. Wingrove represents the leading run. Hoppe at first, the tying run. He certainly seems fixated with Whitefield. Don't blame him. Foul ball down the right field line.
No, you don't blame him, but it goes back to what we were talking about earlier when Whitefield was on first. He's not the tying run at second base. And with 2 out, your focus should be on the batter right now.
So he's only got if he finds a strike or a ground ball here, and just if you have a look at the fielding setup as well, they've shifted to the right. Shortstop is basically on second base, and second base is at 1.5 base, so to speak.
He's in short right field.
Short right field, that's it. Huge gap for Wingrove, who can aim it at Whitefield. But got the swing, got the strike. Helserbeck will work his way through 7, not before giving up a run, but the Aces still lead it 3-1 at the bottom of the 7. You get a feeling there's a big finish coming up. Don't go anywhere on Friday Night Baseball.
When your GP suggests an X-ray, low-dose CT scan, ultrasound or MRI, you can experience the difference of truly individual care and one focus, you. Sound Radiology is your choice for special attention, your choice for peace of mind, your choice when results are important. People from all over South Australia turn to Sound Radiology. One central location, one central focus, you. Call 1300 Radiology. Sound Radiology, your choice when care is everything.
Zambrero, made to order Mexican from fresh, quality ingredients. Explore our menu, dine in or grab and go. Vegan and gluten-free options. Fresh and healthy. Zambrero, Mexican with a mission.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
Yes, Merry Christmas, everyone. This is the pre-Christmas series. The next week, the Giants will be over in Perth, and our next series against the Auckland Tuatara. The first time they come to Adelaide to play. That will be starting December 27. We have a new pitcher for the Giants, Evan Urutsky, one of your Canadian counterparts.
Yeah, big, hard-throwing Canadian pitcher from the left side. Got so far in Adelaide, 5 innings, 3.6 ERA, 8 strikeouts. So he does have the big fastball, which runs up into the 94 and 95 mile an hour range when he was with the Gold Aces in Winnipeg a couple years ago for us. And he does have a big hook.
So you've called him before?
No, I was actually that year. I was when he was in Winnipeg that year. I was in France for that summer coaching. So.
So he also pitched for Canada in the Premier 12 tournament, drafted by the Yankees. 8 years at the minor level. Highest was AA Trenton on 3 occasions. 387 innings pitched, so certainly a veteran. Spent his last 2 years north of the border with the Ottawa Champions. Good nickname of the Can-Am League. ERA of 3.03 in that league this year. It'll be Luke Hughes getting us underway for the Aces. He is the K-Man tonight. If you hear the chicken dance music in the background, it means if Luke Hughes strikes out, and I don't believe he has as yet, some cheap beer for the patrons.
Yeah, the right man on the mound for that to happen. I do remember Luke when he was with Perth a couple of years ago when I was on the bench of the Adelaide Bite at the time. He was the K-Man, and as the game went on, he kept getting more frustrated, and he struck out every at-bat that night. It was a good night for the fans of Adelaide.
So Rutsky made 2 appearances last week in Game 2, that 25-4 demolition. He pitched the 9th inning, 3 strikeouts. And that was it. Faced 3 batters, struck them all out. What I like to call a kinning. Struck out the inning, and he's got Hughes striking. So you're right, this might be the man. It's a 1-2 count. 1 strike away from the cheap beer. It's a bit of a kids' night. We've got to have something cheap for the kids as well. Maybe cheap ice cream or something.
Well, I know I did see Santa earlier. Maybe he's been sticking around for Luke Hughes' at-bats tonight as well.
Well, Santa's like us. He can't have the cheap beer. There you go. K-Man striketh. And they're off to the bar. The Yak Bar. $5 Great Northern Beers. All right, do you think it'll last to the 10th for us?
I was just going to say, you think you got the rest of this inning on your own?
Yes. So we go to Kaito Santa, who's been busy tonight. He's got 2 hits. I might add Rutsky as well. He pitched in Game 4. He was the second reliever, faced 5 batters, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. So that's 6 strikeouts from 8 batters faced.
Yeah, it looks like he's found his groove. I mentioned that he had the big fastball, and there's the big hook that he got Hughes to swing through on there. And when you got a fastball in the mid-90s and then a curveball with that kind of movement, it's almost unfair.
Can be. Certainly can appear that way sometimes. But they're all fallible. I still reckon baseball, I don't get too much baseball theory, is a game of failures. That one's up high. It's not a game of perfection. It's a game of failing less than the others.
Yeah, you look at the contracts that are signed in the pro, some of the most elite players, 34 or 35 million each, and you're hitting 350, which means you're failing more than 6 out of 10 times.
That's correct.
And you're still considered some of the most elite of the players.
You know, elite sport, any sport, mental as well as physical, I reckon the character of being resilient is absolutely critical as a baseball player.
Absolutely, especially for a pitcher. You have to be, and relief pitching, I'll even add on top of that, because there's going to be outings where you're going to go out and you're going to give up a couple runs, and you might have to throw the next day and be good and win a game for your team by getting 1 out, 2 outs, where, you know, if you give up a couple runs and you take it into the next day, and then for batters, if you take it into your next day bat, that's where, being resilient and overcoming kind of the obstacles.
Yeah, as a team, you have a bad night. Often you say, well, we've got another game tomorrow. But as a pitcher, you don't get that longer layoff to think about it. Speaking of which, another strikeout, Thorutsky. That's 2 from 2 thus far. Can he get the Kinning? K through the first 3 batters. Mitch Ellis is next up, and he has an RBI, has a walk. An assist to ground out to first base.
See the fans talking about the new rule change for the Major League Baseball starting next season, where relievers are going to have to face 3 batters, as opposed to maybe having a new pitcher face each batter.
Yep.
And the ABL seems to be a league that always follows the MLB rules from the previous year, so that may be a rule that may be in the ABL next year. So there'll be a lot more talk about it possibly next season and in the future, but it's the way that the league's trying to speed up the game.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have a time issue with length of games here. We don't have the TV timeouts. But you're right, it's probably not, you don't have the squad sizes to do those kind of, you know, you throw for 1 hitter and then you're out. You're going to make them stretch a bit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if, I mean, I'm sure they'll adapt the rule, but I don't think it's one that coaches really, you might see it used where they come in, face 1 batter more in the playoffs, in finals, but regular season, we've seen them face a number of hitters.
So, some questioning, some discussion on the chat about extra innings. It's a 9-inning contest, so obviously we're not in international rules, but should the Giants tie it up and we're tied at the end of 9, it will go to extra innings. And suffice to say, we've had a fair bit of a warm-up for that, Rob, because Super League Baseball Adelaide, every inning starts with 2-1, none out.
Yeah, it was something that that Super League this year in their 2nd season tried, and I think it was quite successful. The games became very high scoring. There was always runners on. We did see a triple play in one of the games, and there was a number of double plays.
A 2-pitch inning at some point as
yeah.
well. And there you have it, the Kinning by Rutsky. He's being toasted at the bar as we speak. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Giants trail by 2. Quick look around the scores in the ABL. As mentioned earlier, it was Sydney. Oh, they've gone 2-0 up on Canberra. As we're having a bit of a discussion at the moment between umpire and coach, as we have a new player coming out. Might just be substituting the list. I don't think it looks particularly animated.
No, we're going to have a new pitcher coming into the game for the Melbourne Aces. So quality start again tonight for Wes Helsebeck. Gave his team 7 strong innings. Only blemish on the board, the solo home run Eric Peterson hit last inning. Gave up a single after that and got himself into a little bit of trouble, but a big strikeout, his 6th of the night, got him out of the inning when he struck out Rickson Wingrove. So got to put another quality start on the board for the Melbourne Aces Game 1 pitcher.
All righty, now I'm stuck. I've got a pitcher here that's not on my roster. But anyway, we'll work it out. We'll get there. It's certainly not Yumamune. We had a 7. Of course, sometimes there's home unis and away unis, and sometimes the numbers do get a little mixed up. So stay tuned on this one, folks. If it might be, let's see. So Sam Street was the guy they went to as their first reliever last week in game 1. It's either that or John Kennedy, Scott Mitchinson, which would be an interesting choice. He's also their physiotherapist on tour. Actually,
well, we'll see if the Giants stick to their 7-8-9. They're going to have Cole Stobie, Mitch Edwards, and Ben Aklinski. So far tonight, the bottom of the order hasn't done anything. Stobie, a couple strikeouts today. Edwards ground out in a pop out to short. Aklinski hit the ball hard to center field last time, but it was a routine out, and he grounded back to the pitcher. So even though we do have part of the order that they're probably going to count on as the year goes on in Stobie, Aklinski, and Edwards, they're at the 7-8-9 right now because they're all struggling. And we'll see if Coach Adamson wants to maybe get a little something off the bench to fire the team up, and since they only have a couple hits tonight.
well, Nicholas Bader, you have come through big time. Scotty Schumann is the new pitcher, Nick. I don't even have to second guess you. I trust. Normally wears number 9, according to all the media notes I've got here. He's got an upgrade to number 7. Thank you so much, Nicholas. Always good to know who we're talking about. So Schumann was a reserve, I think, last week.
He does only have 1 inning pitched so far for the Aces. ERA 0, gave up 1 hit. He walked a couple batters and struck out 1. So interesting choice here when for Coach Diebel to go to his bullpen and go to someone that so far this year he's had some base runners on there, didn't give up any runs. But the Giants look to try to take advantage of that.
Well, they're going to go back to the man who basically is the Giant score. Well, actually, no, they're going to go to Cole Stobie. Sorry, 7-8-9 as you mentioned. Getting my 9s and 7s completely mixed up now. So Schumann down at the knees. Gets behind on the count. Stobie struck out twice. What do you get when you strike out 3 times? Is it sombrero?
Sombrero's 4. Hat trick for 3.
Hat trick for 3, okay. And 1-1 on this count. So Stobie, 22-year-old from stateside. He's got right field pretty well marked down. Probably looking to improve his batting at the moment, averaging just 140 from his 12 games.
And with his 2 strikeouts tonight, he's up to 18, which is tied at the top of the team lead with Eric Peterson, who does have a home run tonight. So he's maybe getting out of it a little bit, being back at home. Yep. And Giants trying to find a way to get Stobie going as well.
So he's with the Lakewood Blue Claws, part of the Philadelphia Phillies affiliated system at the moment. Does get a bat on that, fouls it away. Drafted round 3, 2016. We talked about the baseball draft having 50 rounds or something absolutely ridiculous. Round 3, relatively high. The native from Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, we've seen a few round 3 draft picks come through for the Giants in the past and the Bite in previous years. We got a first overall pick in Delman Young on the Aces tonight. And it's going to be check over to first. Yes, he did go around. So there is the hat trick for a 3rd strikeout tonight.
So 1 away. Now this is an interesting one. Mitch Edwards had a quiet week last week. In Geelong, by his standards, just 1 from 10. He did get 2 walks and 1 strikeout, played all 4 games. Averaging 273 thus far this season. Played 11 games, just had the 1 game off so far. Not often you see the number 8 hit a 273, but he's popped this up. This is a collision, and there almost was. Holy dooly, I think that was Mitch Edward, Mitchell Ellis. No, sorry, Jared Dale. They did sort of come from everywhere for a moment, but Dale was the one who got it.
He had all 3 infielders converge on the play as Edwards popped it up. And unhappy, but the only one not involved in that looked like was the first baseman. We saw him down there. Now 2 quick outs here for Schumann in the bottom of the 8th inning and go to Ben Aklinski. And he's going to go after the first pitch and swing through that one.
So Vaklinski can get on. Chance to get to the top of that order. Schumann here is taking off where Hauserbeck left off, working through the order very nicely. Right down King William Street. And now he's a strike away from taking an Aces lead into the 9th. Vaklinski down 0-2 in the count. Schumann a little unsettled. Just checks the heart rate for a moment. Nah. Okay.
They finally found the one that they wanted.
I was about to say, how many times can you shake it off? In the end, it's in the dirt, 1 and 2. It's the great thing about some of the camera work here. You do get to see just some of these little subtleties that go on. Not much disagreement about this one. Let's see what he brings up here with a 1-2 count, 2 out. Let's looking for something to hit, and that was just a tad high. And all of a sudden we got what we call here a Richie. All the 2s at the top of the scoreboard. 2-2-2, 2 out. 2 strike, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Something marvellous is about to happen for someone. So Mincy is getting himself back into the count nicely. Schumann again low in the dirt. Now we've got a full count.
Good job out from Vaklinski here. Fell behind in the count early, 1-2. Battling back, taking a couple pitches there, changing the eye level, a fastball up, and then for ball in the dirt. Get himself 3-2 and a little payoff pitch.
So let's see what we deliver here. Payoff pitch, got the swing, got the strike, got the 8th done and dusted. We go to the 9th. It's your Melbourne Aces 3, your Adelaide Giants 1. Stick around. The grand finale of Friday Night Baseball coming right up. Well, it's a coolish night here in Adelaide, but fairly pleasant. The wind has died down just a tad, or either that or we've got used to it. Certainly, who's been the better team tonight? You would have to say thus far the Melbourne Aces. 3 runs from 6 hits, 1 error. The Giants, courtesy of a solo shot by Eric Peterson. They have 1 run from 2 hits and 1 error. To the 9th we go. Evan Rutsky is still on the hill, and why not? He just K'd the side in the 8th. And Rob, probably a good move, just keep Chaffee on ice for the moment in case they need him if this goes a little bit longer.
Certainly you do want to keep the score right where it is. Can't afford anymore. Your offense has struggled all night. But, yeah, Rutsky came out last inning, struck out all 3 batters he faced, let him keep rolling, and get it to your offense in the bottom of the 9th, and maybe another miracle can happen. They've had multiple comeback walk-offs already at home this season, and they've only been 4 games here.
They have indeed. More drama in that first week than I reckon I've seen in some whole seasons. Speaking of drama, in Brisbane, the Bandits have tied it up. It's now 3-3 at the end of 5. That game had a late start due to some precipitation in Brisbane and some record rainfall there. Glad they got the game off. Desan swings at air.
We knew the 0 couldn't hold in Brisbane. That's too small of a park to have
Shutouts
zeros.
in Brisbane just don't happen. Not for the Bandits anyway. Earlier was Sydney over Canberra 2-1. They lead that series 2-0, and it is Geelong Korea leading Perth again. The Koreans breaking out early. Very early stages in that game. And Rutsky, well, that one, bit hard to get a strike on that. That was fairly wide.
Yeah, definitely a great job from Geelong Korea this year so far to start the season. After last year's their inaugural year, it was rough, we'll say. And went and hired a former pro, Graham Lloyd, to be the... Miguel's going to pop that one up. Edward's going to take a look, but that one's going to coast into the seats. But they went and hired a former professional player. He does have managerial experience, and so far he's turned them around completely from where they were last year, just with maybe a little more structure, or
well, they've
been there.
They've also gone up a level with the players they've brought in. Last year, everyone they brought in was not a signed KBO player, not in the farm system, so they're either on the fringe, a veteran who just finished up, a youngster trying to break in. This time they're all KBO development players, so just that one step up. In fact, if you ever see their jerseys, they've got a strange letter under Geelong Korea, which represents the Korean club they're assigned to.
Okay, so...
And yeah, they will be around the mark. They might struggle a bit on the road. I still think they're a picture short, but at home, not to be taken lightly.
Yeah, it looks like this year they got a few guys who can swing the bat on that team. Yeah. And they will have games like when Giants beat them last week, 25-4, that the pitching staffs are going to have to wear it. But the other 3 games were all competitive 1-2 run games, and they've got a fair number of wins this year against some of the other clubs as well.
Exactly right. D-Sang goes swinging. That is 4 for 4 for Rutsky thus far. Oh my goodness. It's going to be a battle of who's my favourite Canadian. I got you, I got Eric Bonner, who's my boss, probably should be my friend. I got Evan. I reckon Evan's out in the front now.
Well, I know out of those two, I'm ahead of Eric, so I'm okay with Ev being ahead of me.
We're now at the bottom of the Aces line, and probably important that the Giants don't let this go too far down the order. As Dale decides about enough of this strikeout stuff, I'm just going to bunt and fouls it away.
We saw him try it earlier in the game. In his first at bat, tried to lay one down and popped it foul. Again here.
So he did get on base early with a nice bouncing single to third that beat out the throw.
We are going to have a quick discussion from the umpires here. They want to figure out if the ball did hit Dale as he was getting out of the box. They want to make sure he was still in the box, because if you bunt the ball and it hits you and you're out of the box, you are out. Yeah. So they're just going to see if anybody had a different angle, and then going to confirm that he was in the batter's box when the ball hit him. So it's just a foul ball.
Speaking of Geelong Korea, they will be the Aces' opponent next week at Laverton at the Melbourne Ballpark in what I'm going to call the M1. Just nothing else, the M1. If Canberra and Sydney can have the Hume Highway Cup, given the Hume Highway doesn't actually go through Canberra, it goes about 40 miles to the north, then we can have the M1, given the highway pretty much, it certainly goes past Laverton, it goes pretty close to Warren Downs, where Geelong Korea are based too. But back to this one, that's skedaddles everyone. No one on base to advance.
A little how do you do from the pitcher trying to bunt on me, and I'll make you move some feet again here, even the count 1-1.
Dale launches another foul. So he's down 1-2 in the count now. He's looking for some insurance. As I said, they are unbeaten when leading after 5. Which they did 2-0 at that point in the ball game. Giants, they've shown the ability to come from behind as Dale gets struck out. Their 1 win in Sydney and a couple against the Bandits were come from behind wins.
And that's 5 batters and 5 strikeouts now.
That is sensational, isn't it? He's going for back-to-back innings. Yuma Mune. He's reached twice, once on a single, once on an error.
And the biggest telling point probably from today's game, the score is still close, 3-1.
Yep.
It's easy, but this is Yume his 5th at bat.
Yep.
We're in the 9th inning where the Giants
one, yeah,
just got
right.
through 3. So that one's driven to right field. That one's going to get over Stovey's head. That's going to bounce up and off the wall. It's going to be at least a double. He's getting his pickup stick to going, and he's headed to third. There's going to be a play at third base. He's going to slide in safe with a triple for Yuma Mune with 2 outs here in the top of the 9th, and the Aces now have something going themselves.
Yeah, well, Giants were probably almost hoping that bounced over the fence, but in the end it ricocheted back in. That gives the Aces a chance here for this run, and that, oh, yeah, gee. Well, after 5 consecutive strikeouts and 1 hit, this could be the end for Rutsky. As you see the play there at third. Textbook stuff. I think he saw as soon as it hit the fence and ricocheted away from Stovey that there was a 3-bagger to be had.
Yeah, a little bit of a bad break there for the right fielder is that when it bounced up off the wall, it didn't stay right near him. It went up and went a little bit of ways away. We can see the meeting at the mound. There was a little bit of laughing there from pitching coach Josh Spence. Probably came out to tell him, hey, you can't strike out every batter of every game just because he said it was, I believe, 3 from the previous game and then 5 straight. He would have been looking at about 8 straight strikeouts. So maybe just kind of let them refocus here. And they got number 2 hole hitter coming up, and they can't afford that run to score with 2 out here.
No, you think they got to keep it at 2, the ball bloop and blast. 2 out. Hayato Nishihira. Let's see, and certainly when you look at the contribution to the game tonight, and the 3 Buffaloes players have certainly been instrumental in making things happen.
Key contributors to being on base, causing a lot of general havoc for the next man up.
Don't have Nishihira on there as yet, but he did have a sacrifice that did help along the way.
.30 pitch coming. See if they turn him loose here or if they want him just to take a pitch. Takes ball 4 up high. Gonna be runners on the corners now for Quincy Latimer, who's tonight had a pretty decent night. Double, 2 singles, stolen base, 2 RBIs.
And that, yes, I was about to say this might bring a changeover. All the players you do not want to face in this scenario. Latimer's got the hot form at the moment. And it's funny how momentum can just flip just like that. Rutsky had him in the palm of his hand, unable to make any contact, and suddenly in a little bit of trouble. Just checking on the new pitcher coming in for the Giants. Jason Lott, number 26, the former cavalry man. Just looking for that 1 out. Keep it 2 runs, bottom of the 9th.
We'll see if Latimer gets something to hit here. One of the trends that we've seen from Lott in his young ABL career is every time he's come out, the first batter has walked.
Which in this case would load the bases, which wouldn't be, well, it just raises the stake in the poker game, doesn't it? It doesn't itself create a problem, but it sure might down the track. Because it brings in the double play if you load the bases, where they sort of do have, oh, they still got a double, well, they don't need the 1 out, don't they? So double play is irrelevant. I'll go back in the box. So Jason Lott last weekend, well, he came in get the final picture of the series last week against the Giants, who were cruising 6-1 going into the bottom of the ninth. And then it got a little bit messy. The Geelong Courier scored a couple and loaded the bases, and they got to a point where the man on deck was actually the potential winning run if he could pop it over the fence. But Lott, who did have a walk in that, he faced 2 batters. 1 walk, 1 fly out, 9 pitches, 3 strikes, and the Giants took a deep breath and won the game. His earlier work in Game 3 was a lot better. 2 innings pitched, 6 batters faced, no hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 23 pitches in that game. So tends to be someone they bring in when they're in a spot of bother.
And he starts them off with curveball there. And it is when you're a relief pitcher and you come into a game with runners on, you don't throw fastballs first. You throw your off-speed pitches. That's just a standard rule of thumb. And there's another big curveball. Going to get around to a couple hoppers. They're going to flip to second base, and they're going to get out of the inning. So we're going to go to the bottom of the ninth. The Adelaide Giants trail by 2. Do they have another comeback in them?
Well, the last 2 games, they've had a comeback in them. Against Brisbane, they trailed by 3 in the 8th, hit a grand slam home run. Didn't need to bat in the 9th. And then the Saturday night game, they were trailing by 1 down to their final strike and got, I don't even know how you actually scored that play. I never found out if it was an error on the third baseman or what you call it, except the Giants scored twice and they walked it off, which I don't think I've actually ever seen here before. So, don't go anywhere, folks. You can see that scoreboard there. Look, if you're an Aces fan and you lose this one, you're going to be pretty unhappy because at the moment you're dominating, especially the hit column.
It looks like
10 o'clock.
They're going to another reliever here. It's Peter Moylan coming out for the Melbourne Aces. He's looking to close this one down.
Yeah.
And so far this year, 6 innings pitched. He's only given up 2 hits, but 4 runs, and 5 walks and 5 strikeouts. So the zones eluded him a little bit to start. He's 1-1 in ERA of 6. You mentioned earlier he did give up a grand slam.
Grand slam. That didn't help his stats whatsoever.
I'm sure not all of those runners probably were his when he came in, but he did get the loss and definitely be disappointed. But new day and the resiliency that we were mentioning earlier, he's going to come in and needs to get 3 outs, starting at the top of the order.
Well, for the Giants, it's their 1, 2, 3. Mead, Peterson, Reynolds. Mead, who is hitless tonight, actually was he did something that you don't often see. Now, Mead hasn't struck out tonight by your scorebook, has he?
No, he's popped to second, popped to short, and hit a ground ball to second base for the 4-3 put-out.
He had something like 20 at-bats in Geelong, did not strike out once. So he's having no issue making contact.
Would definitely help to how he was put on the ABL Team of the Week. Deservedly so for the week he had in Geelong.
So you've got then Peterson, who is the run for the Giants thus far. His last at-bat was over the fence. Mikey Reynolds, and if one of them can get on, it introduces Aaron Whitefield into the lineup as well. So get set, buckle up. Here we go. Bottom of the ninth. Aces up by 2.
Moylan's first pitch into the fastball. A little bit less of that slidey slurve that he throws from the side. That one came a little more over top with fastball to start. And you see the Giants dugout not happy with the call. A little hoop blowing out of there. There's the slider from Moylan. That one's going to miss inside, even the count 1-1.
He's almost a submarine pitcher. He's getting pretty low with the throw.
Made a Major League Baseball career out of throwing from there and induced a ton of ground balls. That's what kept Peter in the major leagues for so many years, was being able to come in, get those ground ball double plays when his managers needed them. And he might be up here with us in the near future. He did a lot of stuff for the Atlanta Braves this year on I believe it was Peachtree or TBS, whichever they use.
It was great to watch a couple of Braves games and hear this Aussie accent.
And he's going to pop that one up, and that one's going to trail foul.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything more about accents in Australian baseball commentary.
Accent? I don't have an accent.
No, I'm not talking about yourself. Mate. You've been awesome. Thank you for coming along. You have saved the viewers from getting me the whole game. You've done great.
Another one, too. Mead's going to chop that one. Going to go just foul down third base. Going to get himself another pitch here, another chance to try to get the engine going here for the Adelaide Giants, trailing by 2 runs here, bottom of the 9th, the last crack from Friday night baseball.
Moylan's got a fair bit of artwork on those arms. Don't see a lot of tattoos on baseball, in particular pitchers, I don't think. Struck him out. First time he struck out in 5 games, and that's probably not the moment that he wanted to do it. Giants one away. They got 2 outs left to arrest a 2-run deficit. Eric Peterson, the home run man at the plate.
So is that where we say there is a commentator's curse? Because you just talked about how many times he didn't strike out.
I mean, here's the thing. If we worry about the commentator's curse, you end up saying absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Well, here comes Eric Peterson. He put the ball over the left field fence last time and got them going. See if he can do it again. He's going to drive that one into right field. That's going to be a single, and there's a start for the Adelaide Giants that they were looking for.
There's your bloop.
There's your bloop. The bloop and the blast is what you're always hoping for. If you get a hit, it's the bloop and the blast. If you get a runner with a walk, it's a walk and a knock. So
a walk, a what? A
walk and a knock.
A walk and a knock, okay.
And now they got Mikey Reynolds, maybe not known for the home runs, but the man on deck can certainly get into a couple. So if Reynolds can keep this going, it could be a walk-off 3-run home run.
Yeah, Reynolds is probably the man you'd like. You'd almost like these two swapped around. You'd like Reynolds to be on first and Peterson at the plate. Of course, we're at the 1-pitch warning, a double play, and the Aces win. So this game is on the knife edge right now. Did he swing? Yes, he did.
A bit of a quick check swing there by Mikey Reynolds. Went around. Even the count 1-1.
Well, as Mikey would say, welcome to Friday Night Baseball. Wherever you've been watching the other games tonight, this one is a 2-run contest.
Moylan slings that one from right to left, just outside of the zone. It'll be 2-1.
A reminder tomorrow, no stream or broadcast. Get down to the ballpark, 4 o'clock and 7 Adelaide time, 2 o'clock finale on Sunday. Broken bat, another bloop. There's 2 on, and they'll hold it first and second. And now it's not just the tying run at the plate, it's the human highlight reel. If you had to pick a Giants player to be at the plate right now, he's there. Aaron Whitefield.
Can he do it again? We saw him, we mentioned earlier, single-handedly taking control of things against Brisbane with the comeback victories. And you mentioned earlier about not having the man on base. Mikey Reynolds is probably the man you do want on first base right now. For a ball in the gap, someone to score and tie this game up. It's someone with speed. There's a good pickup by Alan de San Miguel to keep those runners right where they are. Otherwise, you got tying run at second base with only 1 out.
He's caused a lot of pain to Adelaide fans over the years, but he's one of my favourite ABL players. To do what he still does for as long as he's done it in the position he plays is just staggering. 1-0 count, 2 on. One crack of the bat over the fence will end it. A double play will end it the other way.
Giants have the 2 men on deck, or batting and on deck they're looking for. They're 2 big hitters right now with Whitefield and O'Hoppe. The Aces, the bullpen is quiet. It's Moylan's game. It'll be a chopper. Moylan's going to get, that's going to get under his glove. That's going to be an infield single for Aaron Whitefield. The bases are loaded with 1 out. A little unfortunate for Peter Moylan, but for the Giants, they'll take it.
And this crowd is erupting. They saw the highlights last week. They know that this team is never out of it. And they come to, in fact, we've got a pinch hitter. Jordan McArdle. Now there's a call. The leading slugger in the league, subbed out by McArdle, who played in Czechoslovakia. Who did he play for?
He played for Rossi Bruno, the Cardion.
Thank you. I knew it'd come in useful at the bottom of the ninth. Big at bat. This is a lot of faith by Tank Adamson in the Aussie.
He's going with the left-handed hitter. It'd be a little easier for him to see that sweeping slider slurve that he's got. He's got Jordan McArdle and Rickson Wingrove as 2 hitters, two left-handed power hitters, and the Adelaide Giants once again knocking on the door for a huge come-from-behind victory.
If nothing else, we've got ourselves a grandstand finish. 1 out, 0-1 count, bases loaded. Wingrove sees that one through. It's even at 1-1. The tying run is at second. The walk-off run is at first. A moment of silence to reset inside pitch. And now McArdle is ahead on the count.
2-1 pitch. The Giants with speed out there. Tying run in Mikey Reynolds on second base. Winning run, Aaron Whitefield at first base. There's a ball hitting the gap. Look for them to get going.
Yes, and Adam says, sorry, it's not Czechoslovakia, it's the Czech Republic. Yes, thank you for the pickup. Back to the ball game. 2-1 count, 1 out. 3-1. Nowhere to put McArdle without conceding a run. What pitch you throwing, Rob?
You got to go with the pitch that you feel the most confident in at this moment. For a former pro, it's probably going to be his slider, but so far he's missed low with it.
It's a 2-run game. A walk won't end it. McArdle waits. He's off. And it's a 1-run ball game. Peterson crosses the plate. There's movement in the dugout. There's a conference, just not sure if there's anyone warming up.
No, there's nobody in the bullpen. This is Peter Moylan's game. If it gets tied and we go to the 10th, they may have somebody ready quick, but the 9th inning is his.
Now John Diebel's come out to extend this.
And saying that now we're going to have, it looks like
they've called a timeout.
Moylan maybe developed a...
There's a bit of a gathering on the mound at the moment, and yep.
Looks like we're maybe going to have another change. Probably going to be an injury timeout. Looks like Moylan's rubbing his fingers there. He may have developed a blister, not able to get the slider going. With the blister on his arm, on his fingers.
Bring you up to speed whilst we've got a second. What's happening around the ABL? Sydney beat Canberra 2-1 earlier. It is top of the 7th. 4 runs each to Auckland and Brisbane. Bottom of the 2nd, Geelong Korea lead Perth 2-0. There's one thing the Aces and Giants fans can probably agree on. It's go Geelong Korea. to help keep pace with the division-leading Perth Heat. These close division games are worth so much. They're worth double. Just having a look at who's come out here for the Aces. Looks to be another number I don't have. Fantastic. Okay. Apologies. John Kennedy. John Kennedy.
The answer to the trivia question earlier.
Well, I'll tell you what, he may not have played for Adelaide, but he could be their hero if he gives up something here. In case you missed it, we did have the trivia question, which Melbourne Aces player had not played for Adelaide. It was A, John Kennedy, B, Quincy Lattimore, C, Josh Tolles. Of course, Lattimore and Tolles spent multiple seasons with the Bite. Kennedy has not. So Jose has confidence that whoever comes out of the bullpen will be stellar.
And Kennedy's going to get as much time as he needs here, as he came in as an injury. So we'll see. You see him just kind of stretching and throwing here on the mound. Once he's ready, he'll get in, get his 7-8 warm-up pitches. But a big situation, big opportunity for the Adelaide Giants to continue to have the comeback kid moniker. It might be the new hashtag of the season.
Oh no, the hashtag's got to be, who are these guys? I'm trying to trademark it. I think it fits in well with the change of brand. But no one expected much. Maybe a more competitive team. A gradual increase on where they were 2 years ago when they had their worst record in the comp. Last year an improvement, albeit sometimes beating up on new teams in the comp. So Rickson Wingrove, he's had a long time to think about this. Not sure if that's a good thing, a bad thing. It would come down to temperament of the player.
Well, both Aussie players, so I'm sure they've faced each other somewhere along the lines. Might have a little bit of history being lefty-lefty. He's probably facing them out there. And
good day to Rodney, who's worked out where the volume button is. Thanks, mate.
But with our only being one out and the bases will be loaded, Wingrove only has to get a ball in the air. He's got to get a ball to the outfield somewhere and get this game tied.
Got to be deep.
For Kennedy, he's got a perfect double play candidate up there.
Yeah, so that's it. This game could end with one pitch. It's been that way for a little while. And that goes both ways. And he's making sure he's warmed up. He would have just been sitting in the bullpen.
Yeah, they had nobody.
He wasn't even in the bullpen.
From where I'm sitting, I can't actually see the Aces bullpen. And they were all just standing around. There wasn't anybody getting loose or stretching. They all had their hoodies and jackets on down there. The game was going to be Moylan's game to save or lose. And not sure exactly why he had to come out, the way he was rubbing his fingers, and with the fact that he kind of throws that frisbee slider, that is usually ball comes off a little bit to the side, and those types of pitchers do develop blisters more frequently than others.
Well, all I'm going to say is in the game against Brisbane on Saturday night, Reynolds was at third, Whitefield was at second. And when Whitefield scored, the Giants walked it off to a hit by Wingrove. And they have the chance for the exact same play right now.
Can history repeat itself? Well, that night, the Brisbane Bandits just decided to implement the shift on Rickson Wingrove. We've seen tonight the Aces have shifted, not quite as much as what the Bandits did. But see right now, if they continue to employ that shift.
Crowd getting a little on the restless side. think they will always appreciate that the pitcher needs a warm-up, but this has gone for a while. And I think we're just about ready for some action. To reset, Melbourne scored 1 run in the second, 1 in the third. And then 1 in the 7th. They took a 3-0 lead before the Giants scored on a home run to Eric Peterson. That was 3-1. That's what we started at the top of the 9th. The Giants have scored 1. Jordan Mercado being walked, scored Peterson. Now it's bases loaded, 1 out, 1-run ball game. And Kennedy is wayward with the first pitch.
And they do have the shift going. So they got three almost on the right side. Third baseman, Yuma, is almost in the shortstop position. So Mikey Reynolds is getting at least halfway down with his lead. Anything that scoots away, he's going to score.
Well, does that open up some sort of a... There was no one at third. The third baseman, Yumamune, is basically right in the 5.5 hole, halfway between second and third. Certainly opens up a situation, as did not swing. 2-1 count. The Aces fans on the chat want strikes. At the moment they're getting a mixture. Got one there, it's 2-2.
Wingrove will be unhappy with himself on that one. That was ball 3 up. He knew it. But that's the ball that he needs to hit to get it to the outfield to get this game tied.
It's 1 out. A strikeout. And we go to the next batter. It's a double play that would end it right here for the Aces. A deep hit could tie the game. And we've got ourselves a full count. You'd expect nothing else.
Nowhere to put Rickson Wingrove. Tying run on third base. 1 out only.
Gee. They walked in the second run. Huge pitch. It's hit. Chance of a double play here. The throw will be beaten out. There's a play at home. Run scored! We're tied up! Or we run it off. They've walked it off. Whitefield again. Wingrove, Reynolds, Whitefield again.
The exact same play. Exact same play, except this time Wingrove beat it out, but Whitefield flying around third base, comes in to score, and once again, the Adelaide Giants do nothing for 8 innings, come back and walk off the Melbourne Aces, setting up for maybe another big weekend.
Watching to see if the double play, while that was occurring, Reynolds had scored. Whitefield, how does he get around the bases that quick? And again, the hustle.
It's hustle, and that's what it is. He's coming around knowing that the game's either over, they've at least tied it if he's thrown out, but that's why he's a member of Team Australia. That's why he's part of a major league organization, is because he doesn't quit and he always hustles.
Wow, I thought I had seen it all 3 weeks ago. I didn't expect to see it again. Rob, talk us through this incredible play.
Oh, we just see the end of it. Whitefield coming in, the slide, the pop. He knows he's got it probably as he's rounding third, and they pour onto the field for another walk-off victory for the Adelaide Giants.
I mean, the key to that was it was a full count. So they were running, no?
Well, only 1 out. They're not going, because if he strikes out, they're not going anywhere.
How did he get there that quick?
Well, there was nobody at third.
Okay.
He's more at short, but it's just he's getting a big lead, and it's hustle and just running hard. It's things that you can't do, that you can't teach. It's just knowing the game.
That is game 1 of the series. A hat trick of incredible finishes. Final score, the Giants 4, the Aces 3. We're back 4 and 7 tomorrow, Sunday, 2 o'clock. Get down to the ballpark. It's the only way you're going to see the action. Rob Ushy, great to have you on board. Any final thoughts?
Well, if fans haven't come down to watch this team yet, you might want to think about doing it tomorrow or Sunday because they're exciting.
Friday Night Baseball will be back Friday, December 27. Thanks so much for joining us on behalf of Rob Ushy, Phil Herden, the entire Friday Night Baseball crew. Take a breather. That was incredible. Good night from Active Displays Stadium.